morning, Manitoba. It is Friday, July 11th. You're watching CTV Morning Live. Happy Friday to you. We also have a province-wide state of emergency right now because of the ongoing wildfire situation up north in Manitoba. So we're going to get the latest on that. We're also going to hear from the mayor in Snow Lake about the emergency as well as the evacuation order that was placed there. And then Ainsley McPhail is live in Selkirk this morning at the Marine Museum of Manitoba. She's going to take us around the place and tell us what's on tap this summer. But first, your headlines. A province-wide state of emergency, the latest on the wildfire situation in Manitoba. New tariff threat, the vow by President Trump as Canada nears its self-imposed deadline for a deal. And new hope for hundreds with a rare disease, the positive results for new medical trials. Bringing in Terry now. We woke up this morning, well, first of all, I woke up this morning at about midnight-ish to a storm. Ooh. And then came out of the building this morning and it was hazy and smoky outside, not pleasant at all.
Yeah, I slept through whatever storm may have passed through, but the smoke, yeah, that was the first thing that I noticed when I stepped outside this morning. 19 degrees, and you can see how heavy that smoke lingers over us. Visibility down to 2 kilometers right now. Those winds, they're out of the north. They're gusting right now to 32 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 59%. We expected this to happen once those winds shifted out of the north, and it was a northeast wind for a lot of yesterday. And you remember yesterday that we had the smoke warnings through parts of east central Manitoba, so just a little bit northeast of Winnipeg. So obviously a northeast wind draws that smoke in, but it's not just the southeastern part of the province, parts of northern Manitoba as well. If you're not under the warning, the advisory is in place. Now that's the yellow and the purple that you're seeing. What's the red? That is an extreme, or pardon me, a severe thunderstorm watch in effect right now in areas off to the east of us. Now you can see a bit of precipitation moving through southwestern Manitoba, and there's those storms that woke you up last night, Rochelle. Well, for the most part, they are off to the east now, lingering through parts of northwestern Ontario. They'll hang around there for a couple of hours before they're clearing out of the way. It's clear, but it's smoky through much of northern Manitoba. It's not like you're going to be dealing with some heavy clouds by any means, but that smoke haze, that in itself is heavy and keeping people kind of out of the area. We've got the possibility of some showers or thunderstorms throughout the day today. Clearer conditions once we're looking into the weekend, although I say clearer, but that haze, it might still linger until those winds shift, and that might not happen until Sunday. So tomorrow still sunny, but a hazy day expected, and then perhaps a little bit better by the time we're wrapping the weekend.
Thank you, Terry. For the second time since late May, Manitoba has declared a province-wide state of emergency. Renewed wildfires are forcing thousands of people to flee, some for the second time in weeks. CTV's Devin McKendrick has the latest and what the order means for Manitobans.
At 12:01 p.m. today, we declared a provincial state of emergency.
For the second time this wildfire season, the Manitoba government has declared a state of emergency. This as 2 communities announced mandatory evacuations due to fires burning nearby.
The primary reason that we have called this latest state of emergency is because we need access to more facilities to be able to shelter this large number of Manitobans who are being forced to flee their homes due to wildfires.
Snow Lake declared a local state of emergency Wednesday night, saying all non-essential personnel needed to be out of the community by noon on Thursday. Then Garden Hill First Nation issued an evacuation notice. The Canadian Armed Forces was called in, and roughly 1,000 people were evacuated using Hercules planes. Another 3,000 are set to fly out commercially. Including the roughly 6,000 people who were evacuated Thursday, there are around 12,600 people who have been displaced. Evacuees coming to Winnipeg will be able to stay at congregate shelters set up at the Lila Soccer Centre, Billy Mosienko Arena, and shortly, Canoe says the RBC Convention Centre will be ready to house people as well. An event is scheduled there for this weekend, but the Premier says the province will work around it.
We are looking to scale up very quickly and doing our best to accommodate a balancing act between those activities and the very emergent needs of wildfire evacuees and northern communities across Manitoba.
This has been the worst wildfire season in the last 30 years, according to officials. As of July 8th, over 1 million hectares of land has burned, which is 11 times higher than the 20-year average of 94,000 hectares. The second worst season was in 2013, when around 720,000 hectares burned. Canoe is once again calling on all Manitobans to step up and help people in this time of need.
I really want to encourage us to work together the way that we did earlier in this wildfire season. This is a wildfire season that's setting records in all the wrong ways, but Manitobans are responding in all the right ones.
Devin McKendrick, CTV News, Winnipeg.
A fight over drugs has ended with a woman recovering in hospital from stab wounds and a 12-year-old boy in police custody. Winnipeg police say it happened on July 4th at a residence on Pritchard Avenue. Police allege a dispute over drugs broke out between 3 adults and a youth. A 31-year-old woman managed to flee the building, but police say 2 people chased her down, threw her to the ground, stabbed her, and tried to steal her purse. The woman managed to make it to a nearby store and called for help. She's now recovering in hospital. Police arrested 3 people Wednesday. A 35-year-old woman, a 33-year-old man, and a 12-year-old boy now face robbery, assault, and weapons charges. The work that's happening on a Canada-U.S. trade deal just got more complicated with the new threat of a 35% tariff. In an open letter posted online last night, U.S. President Donald Trump says this to Canada: if for any reason you decide to raise your tariffs, then whatever the number you choose to raise them by will be added onto the percent that we charge. Prime Minister Mark Carney then put out his own post saying, the Canadian government has steadfastly defended our workers and businesses. We will continue to do so as we work towards the revised deadline of August 1st. Before this new threat, there was optimism from Ottawa about getting a deal done by its self-imposed deadline of July 21st.
I will say that we are still hopeful that an agreement can be achieved indeed.
This letter from President Trump lines Canada up with other U.S. trade partners in facing that August 1st tariff deadline. That's also the date a 50% U.S. copper tariff is expected to take effect. If you've spent any time driving in the south end of Winnipeg lately, you may have noticed some enticing prices at the gas pumps. CTV News spotted a handful of gas stations along Keniston and McGillivray Boulevards, as well as Grant Avenue, with prices floating around $1 a litre or even below $1. And it looks like drivers have taken notice, forming long lineups at some locations or filling multiple jerry cans. But don't expect these prices to last forever. Experts say the price war and wildly fluctuating prices may be short-lived.
They are not making much of a margin. That is really not a sustainable operation. That's why there's a lot of stations that are not going to match that.
The price war appears to be unique to only a few cities on the prairies. Gas Buddy says prices remain above $1.40 a litre on both the east and west coasts. New data from Statistics Canada shows the number of people coming into Canada in June was down more than 14% year over year. Here in Manitoba, the numbers are even more striking. About 41,000 Canadians came back to Manitoba from the States in an automobile this past June. That's a roughly 35% drop from the same month in 2024. It isn't just Canadians avoiding trips to the U.S. There are fewer Americans visiting Canada. This past June, there were 31,600 U.S. resident trips into Manitoba by automobile. That's a drop of 7.5% from the same month in 2024. Here's a look now at what's happening along Portage Avenue. It looks really hazy and smoky out there, but overall traffic is moving quite well in this area. If you see any problems out there, please let us know. Let's go now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live in Selkirk this morning at the Marine Museum of Manitoba. This is such a cool place to visit any time of the year, but especially in the summer, Ainsley.
Rochelle, it feels like you're totally immersed, almost similar to when you go to the Royal Aviation Museum and all of the planes are there. It's the same with ships. The SS Kenora, which is actually pronounced Kenora, not Kenora, although it did come from Lake of the Woods, 1897 when this one was built, is spectacular. We also have the Bradbury. There are 6 different vessels on this site. The Bradbury would have been a federal fisheries vessel. There's 2 different lighthouses and a lot of stories. And when I say stories, I mean spooky stories. Later in this month, that they've got some ghost tours, and Shane Nordell's going to fill us in. In the last ghost tour last year, there was a video with a shadowy figure. She showed me the video and I'm spooked.
Oh my goodness.
I will say that.
Okay, well, I love a good ghost story. Thank you, Ainsley. We'll check in a little later. Terry, the brother of Terry Fox, has completed a cross-country trek of his own in honor of his older sibling. The National Ride of Hope pulled into St. John's Thursday. The ride is, of course, inspired by Terry's Marathon of Hope that captivated Canadians 45 years ago. Daryl Fox cycled for about 7,000 kilometers, retracing his older brother's footsteps in reverse. He concluded the ride in the very spot where Terry started his journey. The National Ride of Hope raised more than $1 million for the Terry Fox Foundation. That family, they're incredible. They're doing so much great work in his name and in his honor. It's so inspiring.
It really is.
How's it feeling out there?
Not great, Rochelle. Honestly, as I glance around, it's almost like the color has been drained out of the city. It's taken on like sepia tones almost, like an old-fashioned photograph or something. That smoke is so heavy this morning, down to 2 kilometers visibility, and even just some of the buildings a few blocks away, you can see this veil of smoke between myself and them. Honestly, even things that are like right near me look to be in that grayish haze due to the heavy smoke. It's 17 degrees. We're still above seasonal with those temperatures. Those northwest winds, that's what brought the smoke in. Actually, it was a northeast wind yesterday. It is now out of the northwest on the lighter side, just 10 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, humidity sitting at 67%. Those winds, they're probably not going to be shifting much. We'll deal with the north wind throughout the day today, so no relief from this heavy smoke. We might get some precipitation passing through, though. Chance of showers, maybe some thunderstorms to roll through later on today. There were some storms last night that have moved off into northwestern Ontario, and at this time there are still some severe thunderstorm warnings further east of us. That chance of showers or thunderstorms is not just through the day. Still overnight, that risk continues, but clearing for the day tomorrow, although the smoke might not necessarily clear. It'll be a sunny and hazy day. Could get a slight improvement with winds out of the west, but overall it might take some time to get these skies clear again. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Weather brought to you by Blinds Are Beautiful at 900 Lorimer Boulevard, featuring Hunter Douglas shades.
Good morning, it is 6:15. We now know the identities of both pilots who were killed in a tragic crash near Steinbach earlier this week. 20-year-old Savannah May Royce from Ontario was one of the 2 students learning to fly when their small planes collided mid-flight on Tuesday in Steinbach. Her father is a career helicopter pilot. Her classmate on the second plane was identified Wednesday as a man from India by the name of Srihari Sukesh. The Alberta government is putting in new rules on what kinds of books are allowed in school libraries.
School libraries are not permitted to include material containing explicit sexual content.
Under these new rules, some books with non-explicit sexual content will be allowed for students grades 10 and up. There are no restrictions on content having to do with health. The Alberta government didn't come out with a list of problematic books. Instead, it will be up to schools to make sure all books comply with the new guidelines. Schools will have until October 1st to get that done. There's no word right now on what happens if they don't. The head of the Union for Canadian Government Workers says the Prime Minister's target of $25 billion of savings is a very surprising number.
I'm really concerned that, it's not going to be just looking to find people through attrition. It's really going to cut deeply, and I think it really truly will affect service to Canadians.
Sean O'Reilly says he's worried about cuts to jobs in Canada's meteorological service or to food inspection services. Government workers have been bracing for layoffs after cabinet members were told to present plans for ambitious savings by the end of the summer. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he's aiming to spend less and invest more, which is something he pledged during the federal election. There is new hope for hundreds in this country living with a rare, dangerous, and painful disease. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more on the Canadian research showing positive results so far.
It's vacation getaway day for Ryan DeVoe and his family. DeVoe may appear healthy, but he lives with Fabry disease, which leaves the body unable to break down fatty materials, which can cause organ damage and a shortened lifespan.
There's a buildup around certain organs like my heart, my kidneys, potentially in my brain, of this stuff that my body can't break down.
For nearly 2 decades, DeVoe relied on enzyme replacement therapy, which required routine trips to a specialist. Enter Dalhousie University's Dr. Michael West, the co-author of groundbreaking research on gene therapy.
We designed a study to look at the feasibility of gene therapy in Fabry disease and also the safety of this procedure. And so we were the first gene therapy trial in Fabry disease.
The trial started in 2016 and involved 5 patients, including DeVoe. To put it in simple terms, researchers didn't treat the gene linked to Fabry disease. They instead used stem cells from bone marrow to produce a copy of a normal gene.
And after 6 years, we still have evidence that the new gene is still in these patients and still working.
Ryan DeVoe says participating in this research trial has already simplified the process of his medical treatment and has improved the overall quality of his life.
Over the course of a couple of months, you put in a lot of work with it as a patient, and then it's done.
3 of the 5 patients in the trial stopped enzyme therapy, which is also cost-effective.
And that saved us about $3.7 million.
Gene therapy research needs more testing before it becomes conventional medical treatment. There is no cure for Fabry disease, but DeVoe says this latest trial has improved his health. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
Sources have confirmed to CTV News the NDP is planning to launch a 6-month leadership race with a new leader set to be selected next March. Sources say potential leadership contenders could include Heather McPherson, Avi Lewis, Peter Julian, Leah Gazan, and Nathan Cullen. The New Democrats have been without a permanent leader after Jagmeet Singh resigned on election night following a crushing defeat that left the party with just 7 seats in the House of Commons. The city and some community groups are hoping to make it a little easier for drivers as Winnipeg retires its parking pay stations. The city is offering prepaid parking booklets with 10 one-hour passes you can display on your dash. Those are available at the parking store on Portage Avenue and at transit customer service centers. You can also call 311 to order one. Additionally, ambassadors from various biz groups are going to be on the street helping people out.
Part of it is by giving people more information, letting them know where they can purchase tickets and the different ways that they can purchase parking, whether that's through the app, through 1-800 number, or at different sites that are selling the parking booklets. Giving them that information and allowing them to make the decision that's going to work best for them to pay for parking now and in the future.
The blitz to remove the pay stations kicked into high gear on Tuesday, and they're all expected to be completely gone by the end of August. The primary way to pay for parking going forward will be by registering for the Pay by Phone app. Here's a look at what's going on the Norwood Ridge right now. Looks like things are moving quite nicely over here. It is hazy and smoky out there, so be mindful of that when you head out this morning. If you see any issues out there, let us know, please.
CTV Morning Live Traffic brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. No appointment needed.
Yeah, not the kind of day that you're going to want to be driving around with the windows down. Looking now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. See what I mean about that is like sepia tones? Almost apocalyptic out there this morning as we take a look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Heavy smoke. Down to 2 kilometers visibility and probably not likely to see much relief throughout the day today as these winds are likely to continue, still drawing that smoke in as they remain out of the north for this morning. And even with the cooler temperatures today, and we will have some cooler temperatures, we're slightly above seasonal to kick things off. 17 degrees. You can see many of us are sitting there. If you're not there, you might be just a couple degrees below. We've got 15 at the moment in Melita and Roblin, 19 degrees in the Morden Winkler area, and just off to the east, slightly milder, 20 degrees to kick off your morning in Sprague and in Kenora. And then there's northern Manitoba, right in those low teens to begin the day. You're actually in for clearer conditions, but it's smoky no matter where you are. When I say clear, I just mean a lack of clouds, but that heavy smoke is certainly going to be an issue today. The air quality map that you can see has now got the warnings issued through the Thompson area, the Flin Flon area, and now pretty much all of southeastern Manitoba, and even running right along that southern border into the southwest. The red that you're seeing, well, that is a severe thunderstorm watch that rolled through in the early morning hours, now off to the east. So there you can see that activity still lingering through parts of northwestern Ontario. I mentioned the cooler temperatures today. Unfortunately, it's so smoky out there. It's not the kind of day that you can even crack your window and get a little bit bit of relief because the heat will be back again. Today is kind of the one-day break that we're getting from the heat, but this smoke is certainly going to make things a little less than pleasant. Right up into northern Manitoba, you can see our temperatures by later today could be rising a little bit higher because our temperatures here in the south will remain slightly below seasonal. Normal this time of year would be about 26 degrees, and we're topping out at about 23 with the smoke, the chance of showers or thunderstorms, but then clearing overnight and brighter conditions tomorrow. Winds will be out of the west tomorrow, so we might start to see some slight improvements. Better chance of getting those improvements through Sunday with the hot temperatures lasting throughout the weekend. Moderate, though, as we're looking ahead to next week. Could kick off the week with some showers and then temperatures remaining slightly below seasonal for the next stretch of days. This one put a smile on my face. I hope it does yours as well. Thanks to Diane, who captured this cute little owl. And keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at CTV.ca. We're taking a break right now, but we'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Good morning. Manual windows and chrome bumpers features most vintage cars are expected to have. But in the city of Winkler, you might be able to see something unexpected on one vintage car: emergency lights. CTV's Harrison Shin has more on the Chief Mobile.
You won't see this police cruiser in the rearview mirror if you are pulled over in Winkler.
It's a 1972 Oldsmobile Cutlass Supreme. It's my own personal vehicle that I've owned since 2006.
Because for Winkler Police Chief Ryan Hunt, it's been a personal labor of love. What makes it special? Hunt's custom design.
I just thought it'd be cool to add a police logo onto it. That's kind of similar to our old Winkler police logo. We tried to make it look as similar as possible, and then to add the emergency light on the roof.
And it wasn't easy.
I did a frame off restoration on it, so the frame came off, got powder coated and painted. The underside's all painted, new interior. Every nut and bolt's been cleaned up, and it's basically a new car now.
It's still missing some pieces, but Hunt is happy to wait.
I'm waiting on a radio, so it doesn't currently have a radio. But yeah, it's got air conditioning that works.
The vehicle is certainly gathering attention of the public.
Lots of positive responses, and when it's parked out here in front of the police servers, there's people walking by and they take pictures of it.
Hunt wants to drive this vehicle for Saturday's parade.
This coming Saturday, there's a parade going through Winkler. It's called the Tractor Trek Parade, and it's a fundraiser for Eden Mental Health Center in our community.
He's hoping the car is more than just transportation.
It's just a way to, another small way to, connect with the community.
Harrison Shin, CTV News, Winkler.
Coming up, we are live in Selkirk at the Marine Museum of Manitoba. We're going to hear more about these ships. Stay with us.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
A smoky start to your Friday morning. 17 degrees is where we begin. That is still slightly above seasonal. Those winds out of the north-northwest, they're on the lighter side, just 10 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 67%. This is probably some of the heaviest smoke that we've seen so far this season, down to 2 kilometers visibility because of that smoke. And as a result, we have air quality warnings in place through, well, the north that was in place yesterday around Thompson and Flin Flon. East central Manitoba has had those warnings issued for the past couple of days as well. But now further to the east and a lot more to the west and to the south and right along this southern border, that smoke warning continues. The yellow is just an advisory. You're still dealing with the hazy conditions. And then there's the red. That is actually due to thunderstorms that are passing on through. Severe thunderstorms moving into northwestern Ontario. We could also see some showers with thunderstorms here throughout the south. You can see the activity right now in southwestern Manitoba. Not over us right now in the clear momentarily. This passed through overnight and is now off to the east of us, but that's what is firing off those severe thunderstorm warnings. 23 degrees with a chance of showers or thunderstorms today. The smoke will be an issue throughout, and we're dealing with these winds out of the north. It's the north wind that yesterday started to draw that smoke in, and that wind will remain out of the north overnight as well. 14 degrees, so closer to what is normal for this time of year. That risk of thunderstorms continues. We might start to see some improvements with the air quality tomorrow as these winds shift out of the west. 27 degrees. It'll still likely be hazy, just maybe not quite as full out smoky as it's been. And then, yes, some precipitation. We'll wait for that on the other side of the weekend.
Thank you, Terry. On Thursday, a group of community members came out in support of St. Boniface Street Links. The Winnipeg Outreach Program recently lost out on a major amount of funding from the city, but the organization's message, it's not going anywhere.
I don't want city funding at this point. I'm tired of the chaos.
The city was giving the outreach money to 3 agencies over the last 3 years: Main Street Project, Resource Assistance for Youth, or RAY, and St. Boniface Street Links. However, going forward, only Main Street Project will receive funding for a 24-hour mobile outreach ban, leaving Street Links without $118,000 in annual funding. Street Links founder Marion Willis says she's tired of outreach teams being pitted against each other. She says they'll do it alone.
I think my message to the city and the province now is St. Boniface Street Links, unfunded and unleashed. We don't report to the city. We don't report to the province. We report to the people in this room that actually do fund the services that we provide. We will continue to provide a citywide service. We will attend encampment calls.
Willis says Street Links attended to 16,000 calls last year, many of which originated from the community. She says that work will continue regardless of the funding cut from the city. Another shot has been fired in the U.S.-Canada trade war. President Donald Trump releasing a letter to Prime Minister Mark Carney late Thursday evening, accusing Canada of financially retaliating against the U.S. He's vowed, starting August 1st, to impose a 35% tariff on all Canadian goods going into the U.S. That's separate from the current sectorial tariffs. Trump goes on to say that if Canada raises its tariffs, quote, whatever number you choose to raise them by will be added onto the 35% that we charge. All of this comes 11 days before Canada's self-imposed deadline to make a deal with the U.S. and one day after Trump said 50% tariffs on copper would also be applied on August 1st.
We'll fight against it, period.
A defiant declaration from Canada's industry minister talking about the threat of 50% tariffs on Canadian copper. While meeting the Vancouver Board of Trade, Melanie Joly said protecting jobs remains the government's focus in this trade war.
We denounce these illegal tariffs, and we think that they're a direct attack against our workers and now on the in the copper industry, and so we'll fight against them.
While the fight continues on one front, negotiations with the U.S. are ongoing. Today, the Foreign Affairs Minister said she believes a deal can get done before Canada's self-imposed deadline of July 21st.
I will say that we are still hopeful that an agreement can be achieved indeed.
But one of the people who negotiated the last trade deal with the U.S. disagrees.
I think that's, not realistic at the present moment. I don't think that we're going to be able to achieve very much of significance over the next, 11 days.
Canada's former ambassador to the U.S., David McNaughton, also sits on the Prime Minister's Council on Canada-U.S. relations. He thinks the government should extend discussions until U.S. President Donald Trump softens his stance.
When some of the things that he's doing start to bite on the American economy, when inflation starts going up, when things start to slow down, I think that will be the time when we can make a fair and reasonable deal.
Manitoba's Police Oversight Agency is investigating after an officer shot and killed a dog in western Manitoba. It happened June 11th in Swan Lake First Nation and was reported to the Independent Investigation Unit Wednesday. The IIU says a First Nations Police Service officer went to a residence to make an arrest. While at the house, a dog bit the officer. The IIU says the officer left, only to return a short time later when he shot and killed the dog. The IIU is asking anyone who saw the incident or may have video footage to contact them. For the first time ever, a woman is in charge of the Royal Canadian Air Force. Lieutenant General Jamie Spicer Blanchette took command of the RCAF in a ceremony yesterday. She is coming from her previous role as Deputy Commander of the Air Force. Lieutenant General Spicer Blanchette has also served as a helicopter pilot in UN and NATO peacekeeping missions. She's the 22nd commander of the RCAF. A housing co-op in Brandon is getting $500,000 from the province to help pay for repairs and maintenance. The Spruce Woods Housing Co-op Board is still deciding where to use the money, but its manager says 28 of its 81 units need to be refurbished, and work is needed on the parking lot and on energy efficiency.
Hard work to not only maintain aging buildings, but to keep up with the ever-increasing cost of repairs, water bills, etc. But for us, it's harder.
The housing co-op also received over $14,000 a month to support operations through the province's nonprofit housing funding model. It will celebrate 40 years in operation this September. Here's a look at what's going on in traffic along Kenaston and Sterling Lyon. Things are moving well over here, but you can see there are some visibility issues with all that smoke and that haze, so be mindful of that when you head out this morning. Here's a look now at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.37. The provincial average is slightly lower at $1.32, and in Winnipeg the average is also $1.32. The lowest price in the city is $1.09. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Let's go back now to the Marine Museum of Manitoba, where Ainsley McPhail is live in Selkirk this morning. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. Maybe you're walking around Selkirk and you go, wait, how did all of these ships get here? We're going to find out. They've been here for a while, though. Shay Nordell joins us to tell us all about it. The Kenora, a huge focal point. And I say Kenora, not Kenora, for a very specific reason. Tell us why.
Because it wasn't Kenora as we know it back in 1897. The area of Rainy River was Keewatin, Norman, and Rapportage. So when they built the ship, they took a little bit of each, and that's how you got Kenora.
Mm-hmm. And how did it get here?
They actually cut it in half and shipped it by rail and then reassembled it here and when they got it here.
Such different pieces of history, too, webbed into one space here in Selkirk. You've got 6 vessels. The one beside us, too, the Bradbury as well. National Fisheries. Tell us a little bit about it.
That was a government vessel. It was used to break the ice to help, save other ships that maybe got stuck too late in the season out in the ice. It took treaty monies up north. And it was it was a fishery patrol vessel also, so it took hatchlings out to the lake.
And there's so much to learn and explore, even on the ship. So when you're here, you can actually physically go on. You can even host an event and so much more. Tell us about that component.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. We're all hands-on. The museum itself is housed in the 6 ships, so you can explore each level of the ship itself. Pretend you're steering like the captain and avoiding icebergs, stuff like that. That's what the kids love to do anyway. But and yeah, we do have a banquet hall, so we can rent it out and do different events.
Any events that you specifically want to plug that are coming up this month or beyond?
Oh, there is. We have ghost tours that are starting up this month, and in September we have the Packers Women's Fashion Kenora Dinner.
And that you can actually eat like I almost said like a sailor. That's not the right thing to say.
It is a traditional dinner that was served on the Kenora to all the passengers. So you get to experience what it was like on the ship then.
Thank you so much. The ghost tours, she's full of ghost stories too. And I know you love those so much, Rochelle.
Yes.
We'll tell you about it later.
Sounds good. Thank you, Ainsley. Let's go out to the rooftop now. It is smoky, it's hazy out there. It's also not pleasant to breathe.
No, you're right about that. It's probably some of the worst conditions that we've seen so far this season. And I was just thinking about it. I don't really want to be walking home, except they changed the buses and I don't know my new route. I guess today is the day I might have to figure it out, because this isn't the kind of day that you want to be spending long periods of time outdoors, and you certainly don't want to be doing strenuous activity outdoors. Not that walking home is strenuous by any means, but again, it's the length of time that you're out here. You're going to want to limit that. 17 degrees, north-northwest winds are 10 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising. Humidity is sitting at 67%. And that smoke so heavy, we're down to 2 kilometers visibility. And I mean, it visibly has an effect, not to mention aromatically as well. You can smell it, you can see it, you can feel it even when you're breathing in. So you don't want to be doing a lot of that with these conditions. Stay indoors where it's clearer, cleaner, safer. It is going to be cooler today, possibly stormy. We have a chance of showers or thunderstorms rolling through southern Manitoba. There's some right now very active through northwestern Ontario that have fired off severe thunderstorm warnings. Northern Manitoba, a clear day, but a smoky day. You're not exactly going to be dealing with clear conditions either. We're taking a break right now. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by ABC Fire and Safety, your CO2 refill store.
Looking at the early markets, the Dow Jones taking a big dip overnight. The NASDAQ and S&P index are also trending lower. The Loonie dropping in early trading to around 73 cents U.S. The Hang Seng adding 111 points, and the Nikkei lost 76 points. Good morning. It is 6:45. Premier Canoe says an overpass will be in the mix of potential upgrades at Highway 1 and 5, the site of the bus crash that killed 17 people near Carberry in 2023. Canoe says an overpass and other alternatives will be explored as the plan to make safety changes heads back to the drawing board. As CTV's Jeff Keel reports, it comes after the NDP government said it would not follow through with the recommended R-cut option.
These crosses honor the 17 people who died after a bus crash outside Carberry 2 years ago. Now a controversial proposal to make the accident site safer is not moving forward.
I was happy and relieved about that.
Premier Canoe says no R-cut will be built at Highways 1 and 5. Instead, the province will look at other alternatives following a mountain of pressure to scrap the plan.
It clearly didn't have the support of the community, so we got to listen to the people who are going to be the most frequent users of it.
I'm impressed. I think he made a very good decision.
The R-cut configuration does not allow vehicles to cross the highway directly, but instead, drivers turn onto the highway and then use a U-turn lane down the road. Last month, provincial officials presented that as the preferred option at a meeting in Carberry.
Is anyone here from the community actually for the R-cut? No.
But armed with a petition of 2,100 signatures, area residents overwhelmingly opposed the design over concerns it would confuse drivers and be tight for large trucks.
I know you're saying it's safer. Right. None of them will agree that that's safer.
The province promised safety upgrades here following the tragedy. Tom Barron lives near the intersection. He wants an overpass constructed, also known as an interchange.
Everybody else in the community does as well.
Carberry Mayor Ray Muirhead says it's overpass or bust.
Putting an overpass in is not reinventing the wheel. They've got them everywhere in Winnipeg. They've got them all over the place. It shouldn't be that terribly difficult of a design.
The Premier says that will be considered.
Yeah, an interchange is going to be part of the mix of what we look at because we want to look at safety, but also something that has the public confidence.
Jeff Keel, CTV News, near Carberry.
The province has said an overpass would cost more than $100 million, more than 5 times the cost of an R-cut. Swan River RCMP are investigating a homicide just after midnight early Thursday. Swan River RCMP responded to a report of an injured man in Sapotaweya Cree Nation. They found a 57-year-old with critical injuries. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A 20-year-old man was arrested at a nearby home not long after. Police say the two knew each other. The investigation continues. The province is renewing its contract with STARS for emergency patient air transport in Manitoba.
With skilled pilots, paramedics, nurses, and physicians who are ready to quite literally drop into any situation, stabilize their patients, and get them to the right care as quickly as possible.
Under the contract, the STARS, which stands for Shock Trauma Air Rescue Service, will continue to provide around-the-clock, 365-day-a-year emergency transport for the most critically ill or injured people in the province. People like Willem van Lankveld, who was hit by a truck while riding a bike in 2021, resulting in multiple serious injuries.
My quality of life is very similar to what it was before my accident. I still get to have an active and engaging role as a father and a husband and a friend. And that means the world to me. And the fact that that is going to be an opportunity that all Manitobans have because of this contract makes me immensely grateful. Thank you.
The service will also provide inter-facility transport for patients requiring specialized care. STARS first signed on with the province in 2012. In the 2024-25 fiscal year, STARS flew just over 1,200 missions in Manitoba. Sources have confirmed to CTV News the NDP is planning to launch a 6-month leadership race with a new leader set to be selected next March. Sources say potential leadership contenders could include Heather McPherson, Avi Lewis, Peter Julian, Leah Gazan, and Nathan Cullen. The New Democrats have been without a permanent leader after Jagmeet Singh resigned on election night following a crushing defeat that left the party with just 7 seats in the House of Commons. Tony the Tiger is about to have a new boss. Ferrero, the maker of Ferrero Rocher and Nutella, has a deal to buy WK Kellogg for more than $3 billion. This deal includes Kellogg's portfolios in the U.S. and Canada. If approved by shareholders, the sale is expected to close later this year.
It's great.
This a cappella chorus from Nova Scotia is pitch perfect. Seaside a cappella from Bridgewater started in 2017 as a way for women who love to sing to get together. The group has competed throughout North America in the past. This year they're heading to Ireland for a prestigious competition. Seaside a cappella will be the first Canadian group to be part of the Irish Association of Barbershop Singers Convention. Here's a look now what's going on McPhillip Street. Things are moving well here. It's really smoky out there, so be careful and be mindful of that. It is affecting visibility to some point.
Yeah, it's affecting my voice too. I can feel it out there. You can see it, burns the eyes. Not pleasant to be spending long periods of time outdoors whatsoever. 17 degrees. The north-northwest winds are 10 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 67%. You can see just how poor the visibility is this morning, down to 2 kilometers. And you can see the air quality map lighting up a little brighter, or darker, I should say, than it's been, because we've gone from yellow into purple, and that includes Winnipeg and much of southwestern Manitoba, and in fact all along this southern border right into the very southwest. Did I say southeast? That's what I meant to say. Into the southwestern corner. That little bit of red that you're still seeing there, that's the very last of the severe thunderstorm warning. There you go. There's the warning just in that little corner right now of Manitoba. All of the warnings regarding that system just off to the east have lifted, but you can still see it is very active at this time. For northern Manitoba, I hate to use the word clear, but what I'm trying to say is there's going to be very few clouds around. So the clearest conditions will be through the most northern part of the province, but obviously it's going to be a smoky day, and heavy smoke warnings remain in place. Places like Thompson, Island Lake, over through the northwest as well, Flin Flon, Norway House. Anyone further south of that does have the possibility of some showers, maybe some thunderstorms, and we're seeing that activity right now with showers moving through the southwest. Cooler temperatures, slightly below seasonal, 26 degrees. That would be normal for this time of year. So a cool day, unfortunately, because of the smoke. We can't even capitalize it by cracking the windows and letting some of that air in. We will get hotter temperatures expected back through the weekend, and maybe smoke will change to just more haze with shifting winds tomorrow. We will have a below seasonal week to enjoy on the other side of a hot weekend. A little bit of precipitation to kick things off on Monday.
Thank you, Terry. Let's check in now on Bo at Bounce 99.9. Good morning, Bo. Happy Friday.
I can barely see you, but happy Friday, Rochelle.
I know, it's not nice.
That smoke is bad this morning.
It is.
We're going to talk music. Let me give a quick shout out to Winnipeg band Harlequin. It's their 50th anniversary. Last Friday, they released a new song called Give It All You Got, and they certainly still are. So kudos to Harlequin. Love that band.
Happy anniversary.
I got to ask you, did you love Rockin' Thunder? I know you were there.
I was there. Def Leppard was really good. Joan Jett really rocked. She looks amazing. She looks exactly the same, sounds the same. It was a really beautiful night. We had perfect clear skies, and yeah, it was lovely. It was a wonderful night.
Do you love outdoor concerts? Because we were talking about that earlier this week on Bounce after Rockin' Thunder. Your favorite all-time outdoor concert. Have you got one that comes to mind?
Absolutely. Duran Duran. It was at the Minneapolis State Fair back 3 years ago already. I can't even believe it. In August, it was a full moon night, and the band was incredible. We had great seats, and it was really beautiful to just be outside and enjoy live music. It was incredible. And so was the Def Leppard show. Just being outside, there's something different about listening to music when you're outside. You get the full sky, the stars, all of it, and it was fun. How about you, Bo?
I got a couple. 1977, my first outdoor show, the Eagles and Steve Miller at the Assiniboia Downs. It was at that time one of the biggest gatherings in Manitoba, about 27,000. 82, John Mellencamp in London, Ontario.
Nice.
He was just starting out then. He was brand new. John Cougar, he was opening for the Beach Boys. He wasn't happy with only getting half an hour, and he had rented equipment, so he got really mad, dropped a bunch of F-bombs at the promoter, and threw the drums into the crowd.
Wow.
It was... It was memorable. And then I got to say, 93, Paul McCartney's first visit to Winnipeg at the old stadium. I was sitting with a lovely couple from Liverpool, my friends Richie and Jackie McLaughlin. It was just a magical night. But that's just 3. There are so many, as you know, you could choose from. But can't wait for the next one, Rochelle.
Me too. Well, thanks, Bo, for those updates and for giving us those fun details. On a hot summer day, a cold glass of lemonade can really quench your thirst, and depending on where you buy it, it can also help people living with cancer. Each summer, the Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation runs a fundraising drive called Lemonade Stands for Hope. It's a way for young people to make a difference in the fight against cancer.
I'll take 1 glass, please.
On a hot summer night, it's easy to drum up customers for a nice cold glass of lemonade.
This is great, guys. Thanks.
Noah and his group of friends are hoping lots of people will become customers at their lemonade stand and help them raise a lot of money. Not to buy a new video game or bike, all the proceeds from the sales of these drinks are being given to the Cancer Care Manitoba Foundation.
Because Noah's dad had cancer, but we're not just doing it for his dad, we're also doing it for other people with cancer.
They aren't alone. The foundation has a program every summer called Lemonade Stands for Hope. It's a way to let young people get involved in the fight against cancer.
The nice thing about this is that when people hold their own fundraisers, they connect with their loved ones, their communities. So it really helps spread the word and create awareness.
Awareness about cancer in general and about how it can impact people they know, as it's doing in this situation.
It was a really nice opportunity to be able to have the boys learn and talk and understand that there are lots of ways that they can help and support a friend or family member.
As a child, when someone does get cancer, you can feel very helpless, and I think the lemonade stand gave them a way to help.
Help and have a lot of fun at the same time.
Okay, no. Hot tomato.
Good for them. This is a look at what's happening on the Provencher Bridge. Things are moving well over here. We'll be back after this with your 7 o'clock headlines. Good morning. It is 7 a.m. on Friday, July 11th. You're watching CTV Morning Live. Happy Friday to you. Coming up in this hour, we're going to get the latest on the wildfire situation in northern Manitoba. We're also going to hear about the province-wide state of emergency that was declared for a second time yesterday. And we're going to hear from the mayor of Snow Lake. But first, your headlines. Manitoba declares another state of emergency, which communities are under mandatory evacuation orders. Plus, Ottawa targets $25 billion in cuts. Union fears jobs and safety services could be on the line. And Love takes the long way around. 13 years, 1 bottle, and a perfect reunion. Bringing in Terry now. It is full of different colors behind you. It has to do with the smoke and the air quality.
Mostly, yes. And then there's storms. You said that you were woken up by the storms last night. I slept right through, did not hear anything, but I can see how somebody may have been woken up by them when I see the activity on the satellite image. When we look outside, well, we really can't see much aside from the smoke. It is very thick and dense this morning. 17 degrees. We've got winds out of the north-northwest, 10 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity is sitting at 67%. So most of the warnings issued throughout Manitoba today have to do with the smoke, either the air quality statement, the yellow, slightly downgraded version, or the full-out warning is the purple, where that smoke is the thickest and most dense. And then there's the red. That's the thunderstorm, severe thunderstorm warning, reissued again in parts of northwestern Ontario. You can see there is some precipitation here on the satellite image through the southwest. We might see some showers or thunderstorms that'll be passing all across southern Manitoba at the moment, southeast on the clearer side. That severe warning has to do with this one right there, and then further off to the east, it is still very, very active. Northern Manitoba, clear, but not clear. It's still very smoky. When I say clear, you can see the lack of clouds, but the smoke is certainly going to be an issue throughout the province today. No matter where you are, all of us will be dealing with that haze in some sense. Some where the purple areas were, it'll be worse than others. Now, the precipitation rolling through southern Manitoba could bring showers, maybe even some thunderstorms. We're not likely to see much relief from that smoke through the day as the winds are going to remain out of the north. Tomorrow, shifting out of the west. Slightly clearer conditions tomorrow, so we should see a return to the sunshine, and the smoke might start to dissipate somewhat. Hazy conditions are still expected, and maybe clearer yet on Sunday as that smoke continues to clear. Temperatures will be back up to the hot highs, high 20s for the weekend itself. Today will be a little bit cooler, and next week we've got some cooler and slightly below seasonal temperatures that will begin with some showers on Monday. Rock art is what we're showcasing today. 7-year-old Lane painted these flowers onto a rock. Thank you, Lane. Love to see this, and we would love to see your art. So whatever it is you're working on, take a picture of it and send it to us. Winnipeg weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. For the second time since late May, Manitoba has declared a province-wide state of emergency. Renewed wildfires are forcing thousands of people to flee, some for the second time in weeks. CTV's Devin McKendrick has the latest and what the order means for Manitobans.
At 12:01 p.m. today, we declared a provincial state of emergency.
For the second time this wildfire season, the Manitoba government has declared a state of emergency. This as 2 communities announced mandatory evacuations due to fires burning nearby.
The primary reason that we have called this latest state of emergency is because we need access to more facilities to be able to shelter this large number of Manitobans who are being forced to flee their homes due to wildfires.
Snow Lake declared a local state of emergency Wednesday night, saying all non-essential personnel needed to be out of the community by noon on Thursday. Then Garden Hill First Nation issued an evacuation notice. The Canadian Armed Forces was called in, and roughly 1,000 people were evacuated using Hercules planes. Another 3,000 are set to fly out commercially. Including the roughly 6,000 people who were evacuated Thursday, there are around 12,600 people who have been displaced. Evacuees coming to Winnipeg will be able to stay at congregate shelters set up at the Leela Soccer Centre, Billy Mosienko Arena, and shortly, Canoe says the RBC Convention Centre will be ready to house people as well. An event is scheduled there for this weekend, but the Premier says the province will work around it.
We are looking to scale up very quickly and doing our best to accommodate a balancing act between those activities and the very emergent needs of wildfire evacuees and northern communities across Manitoba.
This has been the worst wildfire season in the last 30 years, according to officials. As of July 8th, over 1 million hectares of land has burned, which is 11 times higher than the 20-year average of 94,000 hectares. The second worst season was in 2013, when around 720,000 hectares burned. Canoe is once again calling on all Manitobans to step up and help people in this time of need.
I really want to encourage us to work together the way that we did earlier in this wildfire season. This is a wildfire season that's setting records in all the wrong ways, but Manitobans are responding in all the right ones.
Devin McKendrick, CTV News, Winnipeg.
And the Premier was asked to respond to complaints from some U.S. lawmakers that Canada isn't doing enough to curb wildfire smoke, which is drifting south and ruining the American summer. Take a listen.
Well, I've shaken the hands of American firefighters in northern Manitoba who are helping us out, and I would challenge these ambulance chasers in the U.S. Congress to go and do the same, and to hear how much the American firefighting heroes who are here, how much they loved our province.
The Premier went on to criticize the lawmakers for comments he said trivialized a crisis in which people had died and lost their homes. In their letter to the Canadian ambassador, the representatives from Wisconsin and Minnesota suggested Canada make better use of technology and employ better forest management practices. A fight over drugs has ended with a woman recovering in hospital from stab wounds and a 12-year-old boy in police custody. Winnipeg police say it happened on July 4th at a residence on Pritchard Avenue. Police allege a dispute over drugs broke out between 3 adults and a youth. A 31-year-old woman managed to flee the building, but police say 2 people chased her down, threw her to the ground, stabbed her, and tried to steal her purse. The woman managed to make it to a nearby store and call for help. She's now recovering in hospital. Police arrested 3 people Wednesday. A 35-year-old woman, a 33-year-old man, and a 12-year-old boy now face robbery, assault, and weapons charges. The head of the Union for Canadian Government Workers says the Prime Minister's target of $25 billion of savings is a very surprising number.
I'm really concerned that, it's not going to be just looking to find people through attrition. It's really going to cut deeply, and I think it really truly will affect service to Canadians.
Sean O'Reilly says he's worried about cuts to jobs in Canada's meteorological service or to food inspection services. Government workers have been bracing for layoffs after cabinet members were told to present plans for ambitious savings by the end of the summer. Prime Minister Mark Carney says he's aiming to spend less and invest more, which is something he pledged during the federal election. A romantic message in a bottle thrown from the cliffs of an island in Newfoundland 13 years ago has been found in Ireland. Even better, the couple behind the message is still in love. Brad and Anita Squires have been dating for a year when they decided to cast a message out to sea from Bell Island in September of 2012. Anita wrote this, quote, "Today we enjoyed dinner, this bottle of wine, and each other on the edge of the island." They shoved the letter into a wine bottle and tossed it into Conception Bay. Kate and John Gay found it earlier this week, 3,000 kilometers away along Ireland's southwest coast. They posted it on Facebook, and it didn't take long to get to Brad and Anita, who are now married with 3 children. That is a cool story. All right, taking a look now at what's going on at Confusion Corner. Looks like traffic volumes are really light over here at this point, but look at that smoky air. You can barely see anything out there from this vantage point with our camera. If you see any issues out on the streets, please let us know.
Canada's benchmark stock index, the S&P TSX Composite, rose by almost half a percentage point yesterday and will begin today's trading day at 27,082 points. In the U.S., stocks also rose yesterday, but futures contracts on the 3 main U.S. stock indices were lower this morning. The price of Bitcoin has surged to a new record high. This morning, Bitcoin traded at more than $118,000 per coin for the first time ever. In early April, Bitcoin was priced at about $75,000 per coin. Since then, investors have demonstrated a huge appetite for risk assets, bidding up stocks and Bitcoin to record highs. Finally, the Canadian dollar was trading at slightly more than 73 cents U.S. this morning. The loonie has lost about half a cent U.S. since July the 3rd. From the BNN Bloomberg Newsroom in Toronto, I'm Paul Bagnall.
Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live in Selkirk this morning at the Marine Museum of Manitoba. You love going there every year, Ainsley.
I love it because I get to explore, I get to learn something new every time I'm here. Not only do you see the beauty of the vessels, you're also hearing these stories behind it. So I'm going to tell you about 24-year-old Clifford. He was on the Susan E., which on Lake Winnipeg sunk back in the 60s. Unfortunately, 9 people passed away. Clifford, who did end up surviving, was traggling along before he got to an island, but he passed the Lady Canadian that we're looking at right now, and he was able to identify the people who were on the ship. And actually, he knew some of them as well. He did survive, and he ended up staying in the Inner Lake. So these are the kinds of stories that you hear. It's not just the Inner Lake history, it's Manitoba history. There's 6 vessels. You can actually eat on the Kenora. Cool. They have a dinner coming up, and there's ghost tours and so much more. Isn't that awesome?
It is awesome. Okay, thank you, Ainsley. And you can see that smoky haze in the background there, Terry, and certainly that's happening here in the city as well.
Yeah, I was saying earlier that even some of the buildings just a few blocks away, you can just see that haze between you and them, and the sun glowing red this morning. You know, that reddish hue that it takes on due to smoke particles in the air. You can see it, you can smell it, you can feel it in your lungs, your eyes will burn. You really don't want to be spending long periods of time outdoors. That smoke is some of the heaviest that we've seen so far this season. It's 18 degrees right now with north winds 13 clicks, the pressure rising, and the humidity is sitting at 67%. So it's not going to be a day to crack the windows, certainly, even though it otherwise would have been, because today, some of the cooler temperatures that we'll have had this week or over the next couple of days, because the mercury will be ramping up again again Saturday and Sunday. A hot weekend ahead, maybe a slightly clearer weekend. Those winds will be shifting out of the west for tomorrow, and we might go from heavy smoke to just hazy conditions, and then perhaps even clearer yet on Sunday. We can keep our fingers crossed for that. Today, though, with the smoke comes the possibility of precipitation across southern Manitoba, chance of showers, maybe some thunderstorms, and then clearing out, not necessarily clearing with the smoke. Like I said, still hazy, but sunnier conditions and hotter conditions for this weekend, but we will get a break from that heat again on the other side of the weekend.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Canadian Footwear, helping you find the perfect fit.
Let's check in now on our question of the day. It's a National Pet Photo Day, so we want to know what makes your furry family members special. And make sure to send in a pic. Just a quick reminder, our question of the day has moved from Twitter, so now we want you to text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. It's that time of year, and CTV and Chicken Chef want you to share how you're soaking up the season. From concerts to getaways, whatever makes your Manitoba summer magical, we want to see it. These are just a few of the amazing moments from last year. Now it's your turn. Upload a photo of your summer fun for a chance to win the $5,000 grand prize, plus daily draws for $50 Chicken Chef gift certificates and a gorgeous patio set from Windeck to elevate your outdoor chill zone. So what are you waiting for? Grab your phone and share your summer with us today. We're going to take a break here. We'll be back after this. Good morning, it is 7:16. We now know both the identities of both pilots who were killed in a tragic crash near Steinbach earlier this week. 20-year-old Savannah May Royce from Ontario was one of the two students learning to fly when their small planes collided mid-flight on Tuesday in Steinbach. Her father is a career helicopter pilot. Her classmate on the second plane was identified Wednesday as a man from India by the name of Sri Hari Sukesh. The work that's happening on a Canada-U.S. trade deal just got more complicated with a new threat of a 35% tariff. In an open letter posted online last night, U.S. President Donald Trump says this to Canada, quote, "If for any reason you decide to raise your tariffs, then whatever the number you choose to raise them by will be added onto the percent that we charge." Prime Minister Mark Carney then put out his own post saying, "The Canadian government has steadfastly defended our workers and businesses. We will continue to do so as we work towards the revised deadline of August the 1st. Before this new threat, there was optimism from Ottawa about getting a deal done by its self-imposed deadline of July 21st. The city and some community groups are hoping to make it a little easier for drivers as Winnipeg retires its parking pay stations. The city is offering prepaid parking booklets with 10 one-hour passes you can display on your dash. Those are available at the parking store on Portage Avenue and at transit customer service centers. You can also call 311 to order one. Additionally, ambassadors from various biz groups are going to be on the street helping people out.
Part of it is by giving people more information, letting them know where they can purchase tickets and the different ways that they can purchase parking, whether that's through the app, through a 1-800 number, or at different sites that are selling the parking booklets. Giving them that information and allowing them to make the decision that's going to work best for them to pay for parking now and in the future.
The blitz to remove the pay stations kicked into high gear on Tuesday, and they're all expected to be completely gone by the end of August. The primary way to pay for parking going forward will be by registering for the Pay by Phone app. Canada's men's soccer team is reaching new heights, climbing to an all-time high of 28th in FIFA's world rankings. A little more than a year ago, Canada was ranked 49th. Canada has a chance to improve its world rankings ahead of next year's World Cup, with friendlies against Wales, Romania, Colombia, and Australia coming up in the fall. Here's a look at what's going on the St. James Bridge. Traffic is moving well over here. No issues to tell you about at this point. If you see any problems out there, let us know, please.
Traffic is brought to you by Curtis Carpets, Manitoba's flooring experts.
Time now for some entertainment news. Sir Paul McCartney has set his first North American tour since 2022, and so far there are 3 Canadian shows to look forward to. The legendary singer-songwriter added a stretch of new dates to his Got Back World Tour. McCartney will be in Montreal for back-to-back shows November 17th and 18th. He'll then move on to Hamilton November 21st. General sale tickets are available July 18th. Nearly 20 years later, this song is still a hit. Fergie got to make a second music video for the song London Bridge. It was first released in 2006. This is for Lena Dunham's new show, Too Much. The song introduces the comedy series, which is now streaming. Another family film franchise from the 2000s is reportedly getting a reboot.
The most important thing of all to remember, don't let anything in or out.
Deadline reports development is underway at 20th Century Studios for a reboot of Night at the Museum. It's expected to feature all new characters after Ben Stiller led the 3 originals between 2006 and 2014. The story is based on a 1993 children's book about a night watchman at a museum where the exhibits come to life after dark. There's no word on a release date. Test your knowledge with Celebrity Jeopardy at 7 and catch a double shot of Fear Thy Neighbor starting at 8. It's all right here tonight on CTV. Bringing in Terry now. The weekend's here and there's tons of smoke.
Yeah, I know. It's kind of a damper on your weekend, isn't it? On anything that you want to be doing outdoors today, it's not going to be a fun day to spend long periods of time outdoors. In fact, it's very much not recommended to be spending long periods of time outdoors. A look now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years, and you can see just a few blocks out, you can't see. That's the issue. Less than 2 kilometers of visibility now, and that heavy smoke, you can see it, you can smell it, you can feel it, and it will be sticking around quite likely. 18 degrees is where we're sitting right now, slightly above seasonal with the morning temperatures. It's our daytime highs that'll be missing the mark. We're not going to really heat up much through the day. 18 is the average here through much of I was going to say southeastern Manitoba. We've got Sprague coming in at 21. It's just a few degrees cooler. 15 the average through the southwest, but 13, that's a normal low. Everybody is above that. In fact, those are closer temperatures to what we're seeing through northern Manitoba today, where the conditions are clearer, which I say meaning lack of clouds. You too are dealing with the heavy smoke right up into northern Manitoba. And in fact, the smoke right across the province has intensified for some. And now what was statements have changed to warnings here through southeastern Manitoba and all along this southern border. Still in place around Flin Flon Thompson. That heavy smoke is an issue. And thunderstorms. We keep watching those severe thunderstorm warnings in place regarding these storms that pass through southeastern Manitoba overnight. Now you can see them through northwestern Ontario, still wreaking havoc. As far as the temperatures go today, I mentioned it will be a little bit cool, but unfortunately not even the kind of day that you can crack a window and capitalize on the cooler below seasonal temperatures. Here you can see into the midday, we're just barely above 20 degrees, which is where we're likely to remain throughout the day today, maybe even dropping off a little bit into the afternoon. Northern Manitoba, where the sun will be shining through that smoke, it might be warming up a little bit more so. But we have the chance of showers with thunderstorms here through the south. A little more sunshine, a lot more heat for the weekend. Back up to above seasonal values. Still likely to be a little bit hazy, though we might start to see some improvements as those winds shift out of the west tomorrow. And this little owl made me smile this morning. Thank you, Diane, for sharing this picture with us. Keep the photos coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Terry. At CTV Morning Live, we're all about celebrating your amazing pets, whether they're furry, feathered, or scaly. Your Pet of the Week submissions are amazing. We want more, whether it's dogs, cats, birds, or any other pet pals, send them our way. Drop your pet photos and a fun little story about them to Pet of the Week at ctv.ca. And then catch us every Thursday between 6 and 9 to find out if your pet is our Pet of the Week on CTV Morning Live. Well, it's time now for this week's Adorable Adoptables. We begin with Lilac. This 2-year-old pooch is sweet and curious with a playful spirit and eager to help attitude. Next up is Ralphie. This shy 3-year-old tabby cat is looking for a patient and understanding home. Ralphie loves cozy hiding spots and prefers to take his time when meeting new people. And meet Ducky. This 5-month-old pup is affectionate and quietly playful. Ducky loves head pats and would thrive in a clean patient home. If you think you can offer any of these animals a good home, just head down to the Winnipeg Humane Society or give them a call. The number is there on your screen. Well, some anglers are celebrating a record-breaking catch in BC's Fraser River this week.
Oh my God, that's the biggest, that's the biggest fish I've ever seen.
Wow, the sturgeon, nicknamed Ghost for its infrequent appearances, measures 10 feet 2 inches long with a 5-foot girth. The anglers who caught it say this fish is easily identified by its curled dorsal fins, a rare feature that suggests Ghost is at least 120 years old.
We've probably done 3,500 plus fishing trips, and he shows up now. So where has he been for the last 12, 13 years that we've been in business on this stretch of river? So it's pretty neat how he's hidden out this long.
He estimates the sturgeon weighed around 700 pounds. It took more than an hour to reel it in. Ghost was tagged and released back in the wild. It's my dream to catch one of those babies. All right, coming up, we are live at the Marine Museum of Manitoba. Stay with us for more details on what's coming up this summer. Let's go back to Ainsley now, who's live at the Marine Museum of Manitoba. You could do so much there. You could explore it on your own or even celebrate a birthday party. Good morning.
And there's so many ways to do that, Rochelle. It's not just celebrating a birthday. There's different themes to it, as if being at the Marine Museum wasn't enough. Shay is joining me once again. Tell us about the birthday parties here, Shay.
We've launched birthday parties this year, and full steam ahead. We have 5 different themes. Everybody's chuckling. We have a pirate scavenger hunt. You can dress up and have a tea party on the Canoe. We have a boat building theme. We have a fishing theme. And it all happens right in the Joe Simpson. We have a banquet hall in there, so we set up tables. And you can have your party in there, and then we explore and give you a tour and play a few games.
I said, I'm like, well, it's for kids. But I would do a pirate party. What do the kids love about it?
Just exploring the ships, coming, and kids always like to play dress up or pretend they're pirates. Well, where else better to do it than on actual ships? Yeah. So they come, and a lot of them, even the tour, they just love to steer the wheels, ring the bells, and explore, looking for treasure.
Yes, and you get to do that here. There's other events as well, ghost tours being one of them. I know that it, but it is another event that you guys have.
We do ghost tours. They start July 26th and run through August into September. Select nights, it's all on our website, and we tell you stories of paranormal events that have happened here to myself and some of the other staff.
There's a lot to learn. What are we looking at in our what would our audience be looking at in the vantage point of what cameraman Kenny's showing?
We're looking at the Bradbury right now, and as I said, it was an icebreaker and built in 1915. Took medicine up north in 1917 when the Spanish flu struck, and it's our current ship that we're restoring right now and painting.
Well, a lot goes into the restoration.
Lots. We have wood ships that you need tending like every other year. Painting is ongoing, and just keeping it in ship shape.
I love all of these words, figures of speech. Rochelle, celebrate a birthday here. Learn about the paranormal. It's all happening in Selkirk.
Okay, thank you, Ainsley.
Celebrate as a pirate.
Yes.
Arr, arr, matey, gather around you scallywags. Let you tell me what the weather be.
Well, there you go. You just beat me with the grr. It looks like a day where you just want to stay inside, though.
Oh, it really probably is. Yeah, brush up on your piratees, perhaps. It's gross outside, honestly. That heavy smoke you can see and not see what we're dealing with this morning as visibility is down to 2 kilometers, 18 degrees right now, north winds 13 clicks, the pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 67%. The smoke, it really is heavy and thick and makes it very unpleasant. Even though today would otherwise have been the day with the slightly cooler temperatures, a nice break from the heat that we've been experiencing. But because of that smoke, you don't even want to crack a window and let that inside. The smoke we've been dealing with for the past couple of days, the heavy smoke warnings That's the purple through the Thompson, Flin Flon area, and even east central Manitoba for the past couple of days has had that warning. But then yesterday, a northeast wind drew all of that smoke down through the southeast and into the southwestern part of the province. If you're not under the warning, it's still a statement or an advisory. And then the red, that's all about the thunderstorms. Woke Rochelle up this morning as they passed on through. That's off to the east. There's still more through southwestern Manitoba that will be tracking toward us. So we still have another round of showers or thunderstorms. But what did pass through, that's still looking very angry and severe and has prompted those severe thunderstorm warnings through parts of northwestern Ontario. 23 degrees, there's that break from the heat, but like I said, because of the smoke, you don't even want to crack a window. North winds remaining in place overnight still with that risk of storms continuing. And then tomorrow, a little bit clearer, a little bit brighter, 27 degrees. It's going to be hotter, still probably a little bit hazy. Hot through Sunday, and then for next week, slight cool down with those temps.
Thank you, Terry. On Thursday, a group of community members came out in support of St. Boniface Street Links. The Winnipeg Outreach Program recently lost out on a major amount of funding from the city. But the organization's message, it's not going anywhere.
I don't want city funding at this point. I'm tired of the chaos.
The city was giving the outreach money to 3 agencies over the last 3 years: Main Street Project, Resource Assistance for Youth, or RAY, and St. Boniface Street Links. However, going forward, only Main Street Project will receive funding for a 24-hour mobile outreach van, leaving Street Links without $118,000 in annual funding. Street Links founder Marion Willis says she's tired of outreach teams being pitted against each other. She says they'll go it alone.
I think my message to the city and the province now is St. Boniface Street Links, unfunded and unleashed. We don't report to the city. We don't report to the province. We report to the people in this room that actually do fund the services that we provide. We will continue to provide a citywide service. We will attend encampment calls.
Willis says Street Links attended to 16,000 calls last year, many of which originated from the community. She says that work will continue regardless of the funding cut from the city. Wildfire flames in Saskatchewan have reached the community of Beauval, about 4 hours north of Saskatoon. And firefighters are on the ground in the town trying to protect homes. Everyone else, including essential workers, have left. Ottawa is pondering a new rebate program for vehicles. CTV's Adrian Gobriel has more on the driving force to repay EV dealers who, in some cases, were on the verge of bankruptcy.
A controversy that began following an electric sales weekend.
This has been a 6-month hardship for small independent dealerships across the country that have been owed $11 million by Transport Canada.
On Friday, January 10th, car dealerships across the country received this email from Transport Canada saying, in part, due to the high uptake, the EV rebate program will be paused in a few weeks. That weekend, a handful of Tesla locations across Canada reported the sale of 8,600 vehicles, amounting to $43 million in taxpayer-funded rebates. By that Monday, the federal program was closed.
Dealers paid out money to customers with the commitment to the Government of Canada that the dealers would then be reimbursed.
CTV News has spoken with some of the 200 independent dealers across the country who are out of pocket a combined $11 million, some asking that we hide their identity to protect their business.
In my case, we're talking over $400,000 loss. Huge impact.
Following a months-long investigation,
can't say anything.
You can't say anything at all? CTV News has now learned that Transport Canada will allow all car dealers, including Tesla, to submit any historical rebates that were paid out to customers before the program was abruptly closed in January. Transport Canada has also told CTV News they're looking at starting a new program, saying in an email that they're looking at ways to reintroduce a purchase incentive worth up to $5,000 that supports Canadian workers, strengthens our domestic supply chains, and reflects the times we're in.
I think we're going to see a renewed rebate program, and it's going to have some filters there that say the qualifying vehicles either are made in Canada or have substantial content from Canada. There isn't one Tesla production plant in Canada.
Canada's Automotive Parts Manufacturers Association is also calling on Ottawa to scrap the GST on all made-in-Canada vehicles, not just offer incentives for EVs. That's something the Conservatives campaigned on during the last federal election. Adrian Gobriel, CTV News, Toronto.
Police in the York region north of Toronto say they caught a motorcyclist going faster than 200 kilometers an hour.
Based on the driving and how he's passing vehicles, we've got grounds for dangerous, I believe.
This newly released video was taken last Friday. Police say the bike was speeding on Highway 404 before ending up in Mississauga. That's where the driver is said to have ditched the bike in a garage, then called a ride share to get away. He was eventually arrested and is now facing charges of dangerous operation of a vehicle, stunt driving, and driving without insurance. Here's a look at Donald Street now. You can see that smoky haze hanging over our city. As you can see here, it is affecting visibility. No issues to tell you about in this area of the city. Let's look at gas prices now. The Canadian average is $1.37. The provincial average is slightly lower at $1.32. In Winnipeg, the average is also $1.32. The lowest price in the city is $1.09. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price of the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Right now we're sitting at 18 degrees under smoky skies. We'll be back after this with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
18 degrees outside with north winds 13 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 67%. And the biggest news or worry of this moment weather-wise is all to do with the smoke. Now, the past several days, we've had the air quality statements, the yellow, through most of the province that is now being upgraded or intensified to warnings. Now, the warnings have been in place for the past few days now through the Thompson area. Flin Flon was included in that just the other day. East Central Manitoba's had that warning for the past several days, but now, because that northeast wind yesterday drew that smoke down into southeastern Manitoba and further to the west, all of us are included now in that air quality warning. Visibility down to 2 kilometers. The red that you're seeing in areas off to the east of us all has to do with storms that perhaps woke you up this morning as they got Rochelle up before her alarm. You can see there's precipitation moving through the southwest right now, but then off to the east, this a little bit angrier and enough to prompt those severe thunderstorm warnings from Environment Canada. A lot of activity there. Northern Manitoba, less activity than anywhere. That's where the conditions will be the clearest, but not exactly clear because the smoke will still be quite dense. And in fact, nothing but heavy smoke expected in places like Island Lake, Thompson. Lower temperatures than today. These values are actually closer to seasonal for much of northern Manitoba in those low 20s. Still might be a little bit above seasonal for some. But yes, the smoke will certainly be a factor. Then anyone further south is likely to be in the precipitation zone, showers, maybe some thunderstorms, even cooler temperatures expected here across southern Manitoba when 26 degrees would be a normal daytime high. Most of us will be just shy of that, but it's not even a day that you want to crack a window and let some of that cooler air in because that smoke is so thick and dense and will likely not be leaving for a couple of days. Still on the hazier side tomorrow, maybe some slight improvements with west winds in place. We will have sunnier conditions, though, and hotter temperatures expected.
Thank you, Terry. Let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail at the Marine Museum of Manitoba. If you like a good ghost story, you might want to get a tour there. Good morning.
And even if you don't like a good ghost story, we're still going to tell you about it because it's that fascinating and that eerie. Shay is joining me once again, and we're standing in this spot particularly because these ghost stories are time. I won't say every day, but who knows? Who knows? Tell us why we stood right here, particularly behind these windows.
These windows here, last year, actually, during one of our ghost tours, I was doing some filming, just trying to catch some shots, and found it was too dark, so just put everything aside, and weeks later came back and found that there was an apparition that floated by this window and down the hall here.
I saw the video, I would like to say, and you're not exaggerating. No. It was because we're saying like a person walking, you know, you get the motion of that. This was a float.
It was a float, and steady float at that. And this area is where I've always, when I come by and open up in the mornings or evenings, whatever, locking up, I've always felt eerie feelings here, and I never look down the stairs behind us because I just feel something's here, and that proved there is something in this area.
Great. But you can go upstairs and have the same feeling too. There's one instrument that I understand was playing without an individual playing it.
The piano upstairs in the lounge. I had an elder come on one time, and he's like, you know, these ships are haunted. And I'm like, I know we have ghosts, yes. And he's like, well, I saw them upstairs playing the piano and dancing, and they just want you to know that they're happy you're doing all the restoration here.
I love that an elder came in and you were like, well, I can confirm that. You're right. Thank you for the confirmation, though. I appreciate this. People coming for these tours, too, even paranormal investigators, what do you think fascinates them most about it?
It's an old museum. The ship was built in 1897. There's history, there's tragedy, there's, joyful stories, and I think it just has brought a lot of energy here.
When's the tour?
Starting July 26th, all the way every other weekend through August and into September.
Thank you so much. We got to go because I think I see someone dancing, and there's no one here, Rochelle.
That's Kenny. All right, thank you. Well, the days are getting shorter now that we're past the summer solstice, but Wednesday, the actual amount of time in the day was, in fact, less. CTV's Pauline Chan has the explanation.
It's nothing a human being could detect, but July 9th was the shortest day since modern records began.
The day was shortened by 1.3 milliseconds because the Earth was spinning on its axis just ever so slightly faster than usual.
Neuroscientist Sam Yameen explains.
There are a lot of different things that change the speed that the Earth rotates. One of them is the gravitational relationship between the Earth and the Moon.
The Moon affects the Earth's tidal forces, and she likens it to a figure skater spinning.
Pulling their arms inwards towards their axis, that makes them speed up the spin, and that's what happens to the Earth.
The development of super-sensitive technology is what allows us to detect these minute changes, in particular the atomic clock. But shorter days have been going on for, well, ages.
In the Triassic era, 200 million years ago, the length of a day was 23 hours. And in another 200 million years in the future, it could go up to 25 hours long.
And losing a millisecond or more will happen again this summer.
On July 22nd, the Earth will lose 1.38 milliseconds of the day because it'll be spinning faster. And a similar thing on August 5th. The day will be shortened by 1.51 milliseconds.
Yameen says Earth-based measurements like sea levels, tidal forces, and satellite data help scientists predict these minuscule changes. Pauline Chan, CTV News.
It's time for Let's Celebrate. Let's see who's having a celebration today. Happy 9th birthday, Holly. Love from your family. Happy 8th birthday, Adeline. Love Grammy and Grandpa. Happy 40th birthday, Jill. Love all your family and friends. Happy birthday, Marla. Love always from Missy. Happy 8th birthday, Nicholas, from your family and friends. Happy birthday, Raquel. Lots of love from Mom, Dad, and Rami. Happy 29th birthday, Delberta. Love Brad. Happy birthday, Olivia. Love Dad, Mel, Maris, and the boys. Happy 7th birthday, Lennox. Love Grandpa and Grandma. Happy 13th birthday, Anakin. Love Auntie Amber, Grandma, and Grandpa. Happy 9th birthday, Olivia. Love your mom, dad, and the family. Happy 3rd birthday, Grady. Love your mom, dad, Charlie, and Ellie. If someone you care about is having a birthday, anniversary, retirement, or graduation, let's celebrate. To submit your celebration, visit our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca, and fill out the form at least 2 days in advance. It'll also enter you into our monthly contest for a chance to win a $100 gift certificate to Party Stuff.
Let's Celebrate, brought to you by Party Stuff, 3 Winnipeg locations and at partystuff.ca. CTV Morning Live Weather, brought to you by Garage Masters, your complete garage specialists.
I was just wondering how much the plants would notice the smoke on a day like today. I mean, the idea of plants is that it cleans the air, but still, this can't be pleasant for them either. It's certainly not pleasant for humans. Very smoky, very hazy out here this morning. 18 degrees is where we begin, which is still an above seasonal start to the day, but we're not going to make the kind of gains that would keep us on par with what is normal for this time of year. The winds out of the north are 13 kilometers per hour, the pressure rising, and the humidity sitting at 67%. It's those north winds. Yesterday, they shifted out of the northeast, and we know that there's a lot of fire activity through east central Manitoba, just a little bit north and east of us. So a northeast wind drew all of that smoke in, and that's what we're now waking up to this morning. Heavy, thick, hazy conditions, visibility down to 2 kilometers. There's some precipitation that'll be moving through southern Manitoba. Showers, maybe some thunderstorms that might help with the situation. Further east of us into northwestern Ontario, the storm is very active and have even prompted severe thunderstorm warnings. There are smoke warnings in place regarding the air quality, and that will likely remain through the weekend.
Thank you, Terry. Garden Hill First Nation issued an evacuation notice yesterday, and evacuees from Snow Lake are arriving in Winnipeg for the second time this summer. With wildfires once again threatening the town of Snow Lake, a full evacuation is now underway. Joining me now is Snow Lake Mayor Ron Scott, who's been helping lead the community through this difficult time. Good morning, Mr. Mayor.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining us. Now, the province issued a second state of emergency yesterday. What's the latest on the wildfire situation near Snow Lake right now?
The main fire that's to the west of us started just north of Reed Lake a number of days ago. It's been growing quite a lot. The west winds have been pushing it further east towards right now the Hudbay Bay Minerals Lawler mine. As of last night, it was about 5 kilometers west-southwest of Lawler at about 7:30 last night. It's moved more a bit overnight, but the change to the winds from west to north have slowed that down a bit. But we're looking at wind change from the northwest later this morning and then back to west again this afternoon. So it is slowly advancing towards Snow Lake, and it's fairly smoky here.
Yeah. Any rain? Did you get any rain last night?
No rain last night. We did have a thunderstorm that went through a couple of nights ago, and we did get a little bit of rain in Snow Lake, but there was zero rain around the fire area.
So on the ground, what's being done right now to protect the town and support the people who need to leave?
Most people have left now. We have a very small crew left on the ground in Snow Lake. It'll be mostly our volunteer firefighters, some members of the town crew that are setting up sprinklers, water monitors, hoses, and so on like that, and just getting everything ready should the fire advance within, very close to the town.
2 evacuations in a very short period of time can't be easily emotionally for evacuees. How are people coping with all this?
It's obviously very frustrating and stressful to have to do this twice in the space of a month. We had anticipated that this was going to be a very long, protracted fire season this year. With the fire to the both to the west, and we have another one to the east of us as well. I think everyone was of the mindset that this is probably going to happen again, particularly once we saw the big plumes of smoke coming at us from the west. So it's not a surprise, but it's certainly stressful.
The fact that the province declared a second state of emergency province-wide yesterday, how will that help your community, and what sort of resources are made available because of that?
That is somewhat still unknown. We're working very closely with Manitoba Wildfire Service. They have an initial fire attack base just outside of Snow Lake, and our municipal emergency coordinator has been working closely with them, getting regular updates. They've been extremely busy fighting all the fires in the area. We've got a number of firefighters coming in that have come in from Mexico. We've got more firefighters coming in from, I believe, Australia and the U.S. So that's primarily the assistance we're seeing so far. As far as the evacuees, I know they've opened up the arena down in Winnipeg. We are hoping that more hotel rooms can be opened up. If not in Winnipeg, then perhaps in Brandon or Dauphin. Well, we'll just have to see how it goes.
Well, Mr. Mayor, we're thinking of you and all the people from your community. Thank you so much for making some time available for us this morning.
Thank you very much. Have a good day.
You too. All right, coming up, we're live at the Marine Museum of Manitoba with Ainsley McPhail. We're going to find out a little bit more about the Kenora dinner. Stay with us.
Wesley Chang here inside the Sports Center newsroom with your must-see moment from Thursday, and it comes from the NBA Summer League.
19 years
Jump ball between the Thunder and Nets. OKC's Eric Reynolds forgets which way, puts the ball into his own net. Reynolds, the all-time leading scorer at St. Joseph's, who went undrafted, scores his first points, but for the wrong team. He would catch a break, though, as the refs ruled a scoring violation and took the points off the board for Brooklyn, but the blunder still earns him our must-see moment. Tonight on TSN, we have a big matchup on Friday Night Football as the 4-0 Rough Riders host the 3-1 Stampeders. Pre-game coverage starts at 7:30 Central. That's all from the SportsCenter newsroom. Have a great day.
TSN Must-See Moments brought to you by Super Blinds and Draperies, your Hunter Douglas shade provider for over 40 years.
Good morning. It's 8 o'clock on your Friday. Thank you so much for staying with us here on CTV Morning Live. We're going to hear about a fishing event that is celebrating 25 years in our community. We're going to find out what that is and how it's supporting kids. But first, your headlines. Emergency declared. Manitobans flee fires while officials consider where to house thousands of evacuees. The R cut won't make the cut. What the province is considering instead to make a deadly corner safer. And would a flower with a name other than this one's morbid moniker smell as terrible? San Francisco residents are flocking to find out. All right, bringing in Terry now. Lots of color behind you. It's a smoky, hazy day.
Yeah, you know,
but it's cooler at least. Right?
You're right, it's cooler, but we can't even enjoy the fact that it's cooler, Rochelle, because it's so unpleasant outside. I feel like this is some of the heaviest, densest smoke that we've had so far this season here in Winnipeg. 18 degrees, north winds 13 clicks, the pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 67%. There was maybe another day earlier on in the season, but certainly been a while since it's been this bad. The air quality warnings, well, they're back again. They've been in place for the last couple of days now through parts of the north around Flin Flon and Thompson, and even East Central Manitoba has been dealing with the heavy smoke, but those northeast winds yesterday just drew all of that smoke down into the southeast and right along that southern border into the southwest too. Other places under the yellow, it might not be quite as intense, but still you are under that advisory. Oh, and you saw the red. That was all due to the thunderstorms. I'll show you those in a second. Here you can see more activity with precipitation rolling through the southwest. We'll likely find ourselves in the path of that, showers, thunderstorms, but these are the ones that prompted the severe thunderstorm warnings just off to the east of us, and you can see how angry that system is looking. For northern Manitoba, it's actually going to be the clearest and the brightest, except for the smoke, of course, but all of the clouds and the precipitation will be here through central and southern Manitoba. That chance of showers and thunderstorms continues overnight, but by tomorrow it's actually looking to be clearing out again. So back to sunnier conditions. Still probably maybe not quite as smoky, but still likely to be a little bit hazy tomorrow. We will get winds starting to shift out of the west for tomorrow and maybe some slight improvements. Now perhaps some improvements across northern Manitoba with precipitation moving in for the weekend. So that'll be some good news. Again, though, it's not the lightning strikes, or I mean the lightning strikes can do more harm than good. Hot and hazy for the weekend. The temperature's back on the rise again, a little cool today, and then a break from the heat again as we're looking at some slightly below seasonal temps next week. We've seen it before, rock art, and I love that Lane is sharing their art with us, just 7 years old, and drew those pretty painted flowers on the rocks. We'd love to see your art, so send pictures of it, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thank you, Terry. For the second time this year, Manitoba has declared a state of emergency because of wildfire.
I really want to encourage us to work together the way that we did earlier in this wildfire season. This is a wildfire season that's setting records in all the wrong ways, but Manitobans are responding in all the right ones.
Manitoba Premier Canoe declared the state of emergency just after noon Thursday. Snow Lake and Garden Hill First Nation are the two latest communities to announce mandatory evacuation orders. Evacuees are being told to go to Winnipeg. 6,000 people fled to safety on Thursday, which brings the number of evacuees in Manitoba to 12,600. Officials say this has been the worst wildfire season in Manitoba in the last 30 years. Evacuees coming to Winnipeg will be able to stay at congregate shelters set up at the Lila Soccer Centre, Billy Mosienko Arena, and Canoe says shortly the RBC Convention Centre will be ready to house people as well. An event is scheduled there for this weekend, but the Premier says the province will work around it. We now know the identities of both pilots who were killed in a tragic crash near Steinbach earlier this week. 20-year-old Savannah May Royce from Ontario was one of the two students learning to fly when their small planes collided mid-flight on Tuesday in Steinbach. Her father is a career helicopter pilot. Her classmate on the second plane was identified Wednesday as a man from India by the name of Sri Hari Sukesh. A controversial plan for safety improvements at a major rural highway intersection has been scrapped due to public opposition. The question now is what actually will be done to make the crossing of the number 5 at the Trans-Canada less dangerous.
It clearly didn't have the support of the community, so we got to listen to the people who are going to be the most frequent users of it.
This corner was the site of a bus truck collision in June of 2023 that took the lives of 17 residents of Dauphin residents or seniors residents. The province had proposed an R-cut modification involving drivers turning right, changing lanes, and making a U-turn to get across the highway. Instead, the province will look at other alternatives, following a mountain of pressure to scrap the R-cut plan. Local residents and officials want an overpass built here. Previously, the province said no due to costs, but that position seems to be softening.
Putting an overpass in is not reinventing the wheel. They've got them everywhere in Winnipeg. They've got them all over the place. It shouldn't be that terribly difficult of a design.
Premier Wab Canoe says his government is now willing to consider building an overpass at this intersection, saying whatever's decided on must not only be safer, but also must have the confidence of the public. Something certainly smells in San Francisco.
Peaks the first night of the bloom. It really opens up and it emits all of its fragrance to get its pollinators to come, and then shortly after that it starts to close in on itself.
Hundreds of visitors have stepped inside the steamy and humid confines of the Conservatory of Flowers to take a whiff of their corpse flower as it blooms. Chanel, as this one is called, has just bloomed, something that only lasts for a day or two. Corpse flowers also take 10 years before they have their first bloom, and it'll take 3 to 5 years before it's next. Chanel is around 15 to 20 years old. Here's a look at what's going on outside on Kenaston Boulevard. Things are slowly picking up over here. Looks like things are moving well overall. No issues to tell you about at this point. All right, let's go back now to Ainsley McPhail, who's live at the Marine Museum of Manitoba. Good morning, Ainsley.
Good morning. Well, you said Marine Museum, but you might not have thought kitchen, and you might not have thought, hey, I can actually have a meal on the ship. That's pretty darn cool. Shay is with me now. Tell us about this space, first of all, and really paint a picture for what it would have been in the 1800s.
This is the dining room of the Canoe, and this is where all the passengers would have eaten their meals while traveling up and down the lake.
How many of them would they have tried to squeeze in here?
Max the ship held at a time was 120, but they'd have to eat in shifts because you wouldn't get that many in here, obviously. But yeah.
And people are going to have an opportunity to eat here as well as they would have at the time, in shifts perhaps.
September 13th this year, we have our Packers Women's Fashion Canoe dinner. And it's held right here in this dining room. We also set up on the passenger deck above because we do 2 seatings of about 60 people, and we cook a meal that you would have eaten on the ships.
What would that have been? Because you really want people to feel like they're part of that era.
Well, they would have had the staples like their potatoes, veggies, and beef. So we do scalloped potatoes. We do a maple glazed carrot. We do Yorkshire pudding. And we also have carvery upstairs when we do it, and roast beef.
Mm-hmm. Well, you mentioned something sweet earlier, too, so we can't forget about dessert. That's my personal favorite. When we talk about the history as well, behind us is actually the kitchen. And they didn't have too much space to put the meals together.
Not a lot of space, and they cooked off a wood stove as well. So cook and a couple helps back there, and I know the crew would try to sneak up the back stairs and sneak the pies that they were baking, but yeah, for the dinner we incorporate homemade pies as well. We also have, before the meal, we have hors d'oeuvres. That's sponsored by the Foot Shop this year, and It's an amazing meal. You get to come and have some cocktails and just enjoy the whole evening.
I hope people do that. When is it again, and how can people get tickets?
September 13th. Tickets go on sale in the next couple weeks, and they can get them online at our website.
Thank you so much. Stay tuned for that. We'll have a link on our website, too.
Thank you, Ainsley. Life in the city can be hectic, stressful, and overwhelming for some people. A new program from the City of Edmonton is hoping to help people reconnect with nature that exists around them and with themselves. CTV's Connor Hogue takes a look at the experience of forest bathing.
Mere minutes from the hustle and bustle of the city, guides are preparing to assist this group through the experience of forest bathing.
You're entering a separate place, a space that you can really hold for yourself.
When I first heard about forest bathing, I was like, are there going to be like bathtubs or something? Like, what is it?
That is a common reaction. There will be no actual bathing in water during the session.
Forest bathing comes from the Japanese practice of Shinrin-yoku, a type of forest therapy. The city-run program is in its first week. It's paid for by the federal government's 2 Billion Trees initiative.
Choose an invitation that calls to you. You can take a moment to figure out what feels good.
Sessions are made up of invitations, prompts to focus on exploration, meditation, or reflection.
I'm not artistically inclined, but I decided to draw what I was seeing, and I was actually impressed with what I was able to do.
I think a lot of people who come to this practice are just hoping for a bit of relaxation and are often kind of surprised by the feelings that it can bring up.
Immersing oneself in the forest, in the woods, opening the senses and finding a real nature connection to decompress from urban life.
People have had pretty profound reactions. Sometimes people are even brought to tears because they reflect on impermanence or imperfection and relate that to themselves.
Slowing down to focus on the things many pass by.
I have learned that it's okay to take moments every day to find calm. I'm much better at making space for myself.
Connor Hogg, CTV News, Edmonton.
Oh, that makes you want to get out and enjoy nature, doesn't it? Not today. Look at that. It's gross outside this morning. As we take a look now through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. Heavy smoke has settled in over not just Winnipeg, much of southern Manitoba, northern Manitoba. You've been dealing with that heavy smoke for the past several days now, or weeks. But yes, now because of those northeast winds from yesterday, that smoke has moved on in for us as well. We are still warming up though. 20 degrees now in Winnipeg, 19 Portage, 15 over in Brandon and Melita. Still just a little bit cooler through the southwestern part of the province, a little bit soggier too. I'll show you the satellite image in just a second. For northern Manitoba, this is where things are technically the clearest, but by that I'm not talking about the smoke, I'm not talking about the lack of clouds. Brighter conditions expected across northern Manitoba, but you too are dealing with the smoke, with the warnings in place for Thompson, Flin Flon areas, and what was just a warning through east central Manitoba has grown, including parts of northwestern Ontario, pretty much all of the southeast and down into the very southwestern corner as well. If you're not under the purple warning zone, you're still under the air quality advisory. The red, though, that's just regarding the thunderstorms that have been passing on through. Right now, the situation through southern Manitoba is off to the west of us. Not enough to prompt any types of warnings, and we're not even seeing that just yet, but we likely will. However, these storms, looking angrier, have prompted those severe thunderstorm warnings through parts of northwestern Ontario. Taking a look at the temperatures today, it will be slightly cooler, especially through southern Manitoba. Northern Manitoba will probably still rise another few degrees. This is noontime where I've stopped it into the low 20s, and we might even get cooler into the afternoon. That's when we're most likely to deal with those showers or thunderstorms here through southeastern Manitoba. Clears out though, or at least the sky does with the clouds. Still likely to be a little bit hazy for tomorrow. Hotter too for the coming weekend, but a break from the heat with those temperatures settling as we're looking ahead to next week. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more on CTV Morning Live.
Canada's benchmark stock index, the S&P TSX Composite, rose by almost half a percentage point yesterday and will begin today's trading day at 27,082 points. In the U.S., stocks also rose yesterday, but futures contracts on the three main U.S. stock indices were lower this morning. The price of Bitcoin has surged to a new record high. This morning, Bitcoin traded at more than $118,000 per coin for the first time ever. In early April, Bitcoin was priced at about $75,000 per coin. Since then, investors have demonstrated a huge appetite for risk assets, bidding up stocks and Bitcoin to record highs. Finally, the Canadian dollar was trading at slightly more than 73 cents US this morning. The loonie has lost about half a cent US since July the 3rd. From the BNN Bloomberg Newsroom in Toronto, I'm Paul Bagnall.
If you've ever wanted to cast a line or introduce your kids to the joy of fishing, there's no better time than this weekend. The 25th annual Winnipeg Fish Festival is back at the Forks. It's a free, family-friendly celebration of all things angling. Joining us now is Todd Longley, a well-known local fishing guide and member of the Urban Angling Partnership and owner of City Cats Guiding Service. Good morning, Todd.
Good morning, Rochelle.
You're my fishing guide and expert at all things fishing, and you're doing this event that's coming up. 25 years you've been doing this.
Yeah, 25 years. I'm getting old.
Tell us a little bit about what inspired you to start this whole thing in the first place 25 years ago.
The movie Jaws, believe it or not, I saw that movie and I was hooked on fishing ever since.
Really?
Oh, absolutely. Had to go out and catch the big one.
But you continuously catch the big one. Why did you want to share that with kids?
I was an inner city kid. I grew up with the Children's Aid Society and all that stuff, so I knew what it was like to be you know, didn't have those opportunities, and now I want to give those opportunities to kids.
And so basically what happens is it's like shoreline fishing, right?
At the Forks, yes.
Yeah, okay, so tell me what's going to happen during the day.
Well, we're going to have all kinds of things, like I'm going to be on stage doing a catfish seminar. There's going to be filleting demonstrations. There's going to be the World Championship Pickerel Rig Tying Contest where every kid wins a prize. We're going to have casting lanes. We're going to have food vendors. We're going to have all kinds of activities there for kids. So bring the kids down. There's going to be so much to see and do. Boat safety, learn about life jackets and all that stuff.
Yep.
And learn about our world-class fishery we have in our own backyard here in Winnipeg. We even have a bunch of frozen fish so you can see what actually swims in our rivers.
That's so cool. Okay, so you and I have gone fishing together for years, and in fact live on the show. And I don't know if we have those pictures ready. If we could just show some of the fish that I've caught over the years. They're massive catfish. And this is an experience that, can we show the pictures? Do we have them? There's one. As you can see here, this was the last time we went fishing. And over the years, I think we've caught as big as 38, right?
Yes, 38 is your biggest, and you've been trying to beat it, and you haven't yet.
And I can't. This is the kind of experience kids can expect. Maybe not quite as large as this, or will they have a chance of catching something this big?
Absolutely. You can catch huge fish. What was it? About a month ago, we had one kid in one of my classes catch a 43-inch sturgeon.
Wow. Sturgeon is my dream fish. I want to catch one of those.
Oh, they're an amazing fish. They can grow to live over, I mean, they can live over 100 years of age.
Yeah, it's incredible. So when you see the kids fishing and you're teaching them the skills that you've acquired over the years, what sort of response are you getting from those kids?
It's changing their lives, and it's changing my life too. Every time, you know, a kid, you know, embraces fishing, makes me feel better, and I hear it from their parents. And then I meet these kids down the road as well, as they're all grown up. Hey, when I was younger, you took me fishing, and I see them fishing.
So it's like something that you've become so passionate about, and you're sharing your passion with little ones, and you're proud of that.
Oh, absolutely.
What do you want people to know about this event? And what time is it at? Where can they find you?
It starts at 11 o'clock Saturday morning down at the CN stage next to the Canadian Human Rights Museum. I'll have my boat on display, and I will be answering questions all day long till 3 o'clock, then it ends. So if you got any questions you want to know about fishing, come see me and I'll talk to you. I'm very accessible.
Yes, and you know exactly what you're doing as well, which is so fun when you go fishing with you. Todd, it was good to see you. Thank you so much for doing this. And again, if you want more information, we do have a link on our website. Thanks, Todd.
Thank you.
All right, it is still pretty smoky out here this morning. It's starting to warm up, though. Although, even though the temperatures are starting to rise, they're probably going to cap out slightly below seasonal. So what would have been the coolest day of the week, perhaps, and your opportunity to crack a window is unfortunately foiled by the heavy smoke that we're waking up to this morning. 20 degrees right now. The humidex value of 23. North winds are 15 kilometers per hour. The pressure rising, the humidity sitting at 67%, and 2 kilometers visibility due to this heavy smoke. We now have smoke air quality warnings in place through, well, I mean, they have been in place for the past several days through Thompson, Flin Flon, parts of east central Manitoba, but now because of those northeast winds, which shifted yesterday, we drew all of that heavy smoke into southeastern Manitoba, all along that southern border into the southwest as well, where the air quality is now quite poor this morning and will likely remain so today. We might get some relief with a bit of passing showers. In the southwest right now, there's showers, maybe even some thunderstorms, but the most severe activity regarding the storms is off to the east of us, with some severe thunderstorm warnings in place issued by Environment Canada through parts of northwestern Ontario as those storms are tracking further east. We will likely find ourselves in the path of that precipitation later today. Not the case, though, for northern Manitoba. Aside from the smoke, it would otherwise be clear and maybe even a little bit warmer up north than the below seasonal temps here in the south. And this little owl has made me smile all morning long. Thank you to Diane, who is at perfect timing to capture this cute face. Keep the pictures coming, please, to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
CTV Morning Live Weather brought to you by Mr. Lube Plus Tires. Same-day oil and tire changes.
There is new hope for hundreds in this country living with a rare, dangerous, and painful disease. CTV's Paul Hollingsworth has more on the Canadian research showing positive results so far.
It's vacation getaway day for Ryan DeVoe and his family. DeVoe may appear healthy, but he lives with Fabry disease, which leaves the body unable to break down fatty materials, which can cause organ damage and a shortened lifespan.
There's a buildup around certain organs like my heart, my kidneys, potentially in my brain, of this stuff that my body can't break down.
For nearly 2 decades, DeVoe relied on enzyme replacement therapy, which required routine trips to a specialist. Enter Dalhousie University's Dr. Michael West, the co-author of groundbreaking research on gene therapy.
We designed a study to look at the feasibility of gene therapy in Fabry disease and also the safety of this procedure. And so we were the first gene therapy trial in Fabry disease.
The trial started in 2016 and involved 5 patients, including DeVoe. To put it in simple terms, researchers didn't treat the gene linked to Fabry disease. They instead used stem cells from bone marrow to produce a copy of a normal gene.
And after 6 years, we still have evidence that the new gene is still in these patients and still working.
Ryan DeVoe says participating in this research trial has already simplified the process of his medical treatment and has improved the overall quality of his life.
Over the course of a couple of months, you put in a lot of work with it as a patient, and then it's done.
3 of the 5 patients in the trial stopped enzyme therapy, which is also cost-effective.
And that saved us about $3.7 million.
Gene therapy research needs more testing before it becomes conventional medical treatment. There is no cure for Fabry disease, but DeVoe says this latest trial has improved his health. Paul Hollingsworth, CTV News, Halifax.
CTV Morning Live is brought to you by Robin's Donuts, your favorite stop.
I love chocolate, and I love that some delicious chocolate is about to get so much more accessible. Lawrence Eade is the president of Purdy's Chocolatier, joining us this morning. Good morning, Lawrence.
Morning. Thanks for having me.
Okay, I'm excited to have this chat because, as I was saying, I mean, I'm a chocolate lover. I know there's a lot of us out there. Purdy's Chocolates, it's been around for more than a century. Give people a little bit of a backstory if they aren't familiar with your brand.
Absolutely, yeah. Purdy's Chocolatier, been around since 1907. Here in Vancouver, was founded. To this day, remains Canadian-owned, Canadian-operated family business. We've got stores everywhere from Victoria to Ottawa, everywhere in between.
including here in Winnipeg, but you're actually going to make it even more accessible. And there's been a bit of a push lately for people that are really wanting to support local, support Canadian brands. And now, like you said, it's going to be easier to do that.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. I mean, we all saw that earlier this year with a movement for Canadian offerings in everyone's lives, and our products were no different. A lot of people coming to our homepage, a lot of people searching Purdy's chocolates. We are the chocolatier here in Canada, or Canada's chocolatier, and we looked to how we could serve those customer needs, and started talking to retailers in Canada, and had some really interesting conversations with the Save On Foods group, also Canadian owned, also over 100 years old, and you can see what we've got offered here. We're going to be selling them through our channels with Save On Foods.
What a great partnership this is going to be, because I mean, as I mentioned, you've got a couple of stores in Winnipeg, but sometimes it's just easier to do all of your shopping in one space. So where are we going to be able to find you? Like, how do we see you standing out in the Save On Food stores?
Yeah, great question. I mean, we never compromise quality. It's one of our values here at Purdy's, and we took that into our launch here as well. You'll see a beautiful display shipper. It will not be on a shelf to start with. It's going to be located somewhere conveniently, very visible within stores. If you can't see it, just go ask a staff member. I'm sure they'll point you to it. It's a nice purple display featuring all of our products. It kind of is a shop-in-shop experience is what we're going after with our launch here.
Very nice. So like, bam, hit ya. You can't forget, right, when you see this beautiful display. All right, Lawrence, this is the part where you make us salivate. Tell us about some of your products that we're going to be able to find.
Well, I think if you know Purdy's, you would know our hedgehog. We've got our great 3-piece hedgehog pack there. If you haven't had a hedgehog, I would encourage you to go grab one. They are iconic. Yeah. Our peanut butter bar is one of our best sellers as well. If you've had Purdy's peanut butter, you know what it's all about. If you love peanut butter, this is going to get you. We have a mint melty bar as well for those mint lovers, and then a salted butter toffee bar, which is a larger format bar. Great pieces of toffee and salt in there. You can break off little pieces for those cravings, or you share it with a friend.
Oh my goodness. This is just going to be too easy now to just pop into a Save-Ons, find your big display. Like you said, it's going to be so front, center, and visible, and then never go without chocolate again. And like I said, some really delicious chocolate. Lawrence, thank you so much for joining us this morning. I'll be absolutely sure to be checking out that display.
Thanks for having me. Take care.
All right, we are still dealing with this heavy smoke and likely will throughout the day today. Those winds brought it in yesterday and they won't be shifting anytime soon. 20 degrees is where we sit, though it feels like 23 when you're factoring in that humidity. A north wind is on the lighter side, 15 kilometers per hour, with the pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 67%. Hazy though, well, more than a haze, that is straight up smoke that we're dealing with right now. 2 kilometers visibility has basically been as good as it gets this morning. And those smoke warnings, they're back again. They have been in place for the past several days, right through a stretch of east central Manitoba and parts of northern Manitoba as well. But now, because of those northeast winds yesterday, all of that smoke drawn into the southern part of the province, right into the very southwestern corner. If you're not under the purple smoke warning, it's a statement or the advisory, slightly downgraded version, but it's still likely to be quite hazy. However, storms off to the east of us have prompted severe thunderstorm warnings through parts of northwestern Ontario. We'll take a look over there in a second, but right now you can see the activity through southwestern Manitoba. We might get a little bit of relief with the rain as far as the smoky conditions go, but until these winds shift, we're probably not going to see great relief. There's the angrier looking system off to the east of us right now that has prompted those severe thunderstorm warnings. And as I mentioned, we too have the chance of some showers or maybe some thunderstorms later today. The winds remaining out of the north at about 20 kilometers per hour. Temperatures a little bit cooler. We're already at 20. We'll probably top out at 23. And then with those showers or thunderstorms rolling over us this afternoon, mercury might even start to drop off a few degrees and then continue to drop down to 14 with the risk of storms overnight. Still with those northwest winds, or pardon me, at least north winds overnight. Shifting out of the west for tomorrow might bring some slight improvement, but still probably to be on the hazier side, maybe not straight up smoky. It is going to be sunnier, definitely hotter, 27 degrees for Saturday, still hot through Sunday. For those of you that want the cooler temperatures, we'll likely get them with a bit of precipitation kicking things off next week.
Thank you, Terry. Swan River RCMP are investigating a homicide just after midnight early Thursday. Swan River RCMP responded to a report of an injured man in Sapotawea, Cree Nation. They found a 57-year-old with critical injuries. He was pronounced dead at the scene. A 20-year-old man was arrested at a nearby home not long after. Police say the two knew each other. The investigation continues. The work that's happening on a Canada-U.S. trade deal just got more complicated with a new threat of a 35% tariff. In an open letter posted online last night, U.S. President Donald Trump said this to Canada, quote, "If for any reason you decide to raise your tariffs, then whatever the number you choose to raise them by will be added onto the percent that we charge." Prime Minister Mark Carney then put out his own post saying, quote, "The Canadian government has steadfastly defended our workers and businesses. We will continue to do so as we work towards the revised deadline of August 1st. Before this new threat, there was optimism from Ottawa about getting a deal done by its self-imposed deadline of July 21st.
I will say that we are still hopeful that an agreement can be achieved indeed.
This letter from President Trump lines Canada up with other U.S. trade partners in facing that August 1st tariff deadline. That's also the date a 50% U.S. copper tariff is expected to take effect. Members of the Winnipeg band Royal Canoe have announced events to commemorate the lives and legacy of a band member and his partner, both of whom died in a collision earlier this month. On Instagram, Royal Canoe has announced plans to mark the passing of bassist Brendan Berg and his partner Olivia Michalczuk. Their vehicle was struck while on the side of Highway 10 north of Swan River on Canada Day. A traditional Catholic funeral will be held on July 14th at Saints Volodymyr and Olha Ukrainian Cathedral. A community event will be held on the 15th at the Burton Cummings Theatre. More details about both events can be found at our website, ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. A meaningful and challenging journey has been conquered by the younger brother of Terry Fox. He followed in the famous footsteps of his sibling, but on two wheels. CTV's Garrett Barry has more on his triumphant feat.
A roar from the crowd as the 7,500-kilometer journey reaches its end. For 1 month and 1 day, Daryl Fox and a team of 7 other riders crossed the country, pushing through hills and heat to make it back here. Mile Zero in St. John's, where his older brother Terry began his marathon of hope 45 years ago.
To be on the other side really proved to me that what Terry did was incredible. I don't have words to describe it, and I'll spend the rest of my life trying to articulate what Terry accomplished in 1980.
Along the way, endless stories of what cancer has taken from those who lined the streets.
This bracelet belongs to Sam Tebow. I met a family friend of his in Moncton, and she wanted me to give me this bracelet. I said I would bring this bracelet to St. John's and place it on Terry's wrist.
And from those who rode to remember.
Jeremy Henderson was his name, and I actually put his initials on my bike so that every time I felt like I couldn't get up that hill or I couldn't keep going, I looked down and I see his initials.
Even 45 years later, Terry Fox still stands tall, and this ride is just more evidence of the young man's lasting impact.
Many today came to remember seeing Terry leave from St. John's on that incredible journey in 1980.
And you looked at him and thought, this very young man with this bad leg, he was incredible.
Along with the tears and the triumph, $1 million raised for the Terry Fox Foundation. The fight against cancer far from over, but tonight, a sense of accomplishment for Daryl and so many others. Garrett Barry, CTV News, St. John's.
Let's take a look now what's going on along Portage at Polo Park. It looks like things are moving well over here. No issues to tell you about in traffic. It is smoky out there though, so be aware of that. It will affect some visibility. And here's a look at your gas prices. The Canadian average is $1.37. The provincial average is lower at $1.32. In Winnipeg, the average is also $1.32. The lowest price in the city is $1.09. All this info is on gasbuddy.com.
Price at the Pump brought to you by kidneycard.ca. Get a free tow and a tax receipt for value of your car.
Earlier, we asked you to send us a picture of your pet and tell us why they're special. Here's how you've responded. Jennifer has a trio of pets. This is Kobe. She says he's always into something. And then there's Emma, who's always doing crazy things that keep them in awe. Look at that face. And then there's Sadie, who loves going for car rides. This is Min Pin, Chihuahua Mix Blue. He helps keep his owner, Heather, calm and centered. And a quick reminder, our question of the day has moved from Twitter, so now we want you to text your answer along with your name to 10400. Make sure to follow the automated instructions so we can feature your response. Thank you so much. All right, let's go to Ainsley McPhail now, who's live at the Marine Museum of Manitoba this morning. We've been getting all kinds of really cool stories, including ghost stories and historical stories. What are you going to do now?
Well, there's only so many opportunities to come and actually physically be on a ship like this. Of course, with the Manitoba winters, you want to be able to explore it. So we're going to talk about that window and exactly when people should come to the museum.
Absolutely. We're open now right through the September long weekend, 10 to 5, 7 days a week. And admission gets you access to all 6 ships that you can explore and check out all the exhibits.
Speaking of that exploration, what people might not know too, within all of the little nooks and crannies, there's pieces of Manitoba's history. What sorts of things can they learn?
Well, they can learn, about the beaches and, what lake life was like back in the 60s, 50s. They can learn about all the different stops up north, up Norway House, and how these ships operated and what they did on the lake.
Any story, because you've been here for so long, any stories that come to mind for you when it comes to the history and the people within the community who might come in and go, oh, I knew that person. I was related to that person even.
Stories. I've been here 31 years and I'm learning every day. There's always someone that comes in and talks about, oh, I had a relative that once did this and that. But the stories of storms on the lake is one that sticks out in my mind because they said there could be up to 26-foot waves because of the shallow lake itself. And I can't imagine being on a wooden ship like this and 26-foot wave crashing in. I've heard stories that they had to board up the windows and support posts were being blown out, and I just can't imagine.
Wow. Yeah, you had a few. I'm going to have to pick your brain one day over a coffee. There's also a gift shop, too. So when you come by, local products, pieces of the interlake right in your cup.
Absolutely, yeah. We got lots of different options here. Come explore. We got shirts, we got mugs, we've got teddy bears. And if you're out traveling this year and you're not crossing the border, anchor's up, set sail for Selkirk, and come visit us at the Marine Museum.
Set sail along the highway. I wanted to read this too. The captain is always right, and I'm the captain. And then in quotes, it says, cameraman Kenny. But it's very fine print. It's very fine. You can't see it with the naked eye.
He's nodding. He's loving this.
Cheers.
Thank you, Ainsley. All right, let's go out to the rooftop now. It's the weekend. The weekend's finally here.
I know, and if only we had better conditions for the weekend. Unfortunately, I think the smoke is going to keep a lot of people indoors on what would otherwise be a pleasant day because we're getting a break from the heat today. I know it's been a little bit intense the past couple of days, getting up into the high 20s, low 30s. Well, today, low 20s and even slightly below seasonal, but the smoke makes it less than pleasant to be spending long periods of time outdoors. 20 degrees is where we're sitting right now with north wind 15 kilometers per hour. The pressure is rising and the humidity sitting at 67%. We'll likely deal with this smoke throughout the day today because the winds, they're not likely to be shifting until tomorrow, and it won't be until later into the afternoon that a west wind might begin to take care of some of this smoke. Now, our last chance then would, if it's not going to be the winds, will be the precipitation that we are expecting to see. Chance of showers, maybe some thunderstorms. We've been watching it in the southwest, and we are likely to find ourselves right in the path of that system. There were some storms that rolled through last night. Those are now off to the east. They're looking pretty angry, bringing severe thunderstorm warnings through parts of northwestern Ontario. Now, the smoke is going to be an issue across the province. Still, those warnings in place through parts of northern Manitoba. But northern Manitoba, aside from the smoke, would otherwise be the clearest today. Sunshine behind that smoke and even slightly warmer temperatures than here in the south, although it is going to be warming up again this weekend. High 20s expected in Winnipeg Saturday and Sunday, with maybe some slight improvements with those winds shifting later tomorrow. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
CTV Morning Live weather is brought to you by Destination Dinner Stage, Manitoba's only musical dinner theater.
Good morning, it's 8:45. If your favorite artist is coming to your city, you may want to be first in the ticket line to get a good seat at the concert. But some music fans are finding better deals by waiting until the last minute. CTV's Pat Foran reports.
Kendrick Lamar brought his concert tour to Toronto last month, and fans were excited to see the Los Angeles rapper perform.
They put on a great show, so I was very happy that I went.
Brenda P. of Toronto is a big fan and wanted to be sure to see the concert, so the day the tickets went on sale, she bought 3 for just over $1,700. But as concert day approached, she noticed prices falling fast.
I noticed that the tickets I bought, like the seats around, were significantly cheaper than what I purchased them for. So even better seats were going for much, much less.
Leading up to the show, she noticed similar seats selling for almost $1,000 less.
What exactly did I pay for with my money if you're going to price them much cheaper later on?
She's like one of my all-time favorite artists.
Kyle Dawson of Toronto is looking forward to seeing Kesha play later this month. He wanted to be sure to get tickets, so on the first day of sales, he bought 1 ticket for almost $600. But he says not long after, prices started falling.
Shortly after I bought the ticket sales just like plummeted in price.
Leading up to the concert, Dawson says he could now get a similar seat for just $113.
As a hardcore fan, like I'm overpaying for what I could pay for now. Like I could pay for the same seat for a quarter of the price.
We're starting to see a lot of artists going on the road with these ambitious tours, unable to fill all the seats.
Music expert Alan Cross says it's a classic case of supply and demand. He says while some fans may want to blame Ticketmaster, he says the pricing structure is set by the artist, their manager, and the promoter. While it's impossible to know when the best time to buy tickets is, it also depends how badly you want to go.
If it's a big show and you know it's going to be a sellout, well, then you have to participate in the original on sale. If you're on the fence or you're having cash flow problems early on, you might want to wait.
Dawson says now he won't be so quick to buy concert tickets in the future.
I've held back buying tickets just because I don't want the same situation to happen again.
Pat Foran, CTV News.
RCMP are investigating after a 23-year-old Winnipeg man drowned on Caddy Lake. They say 2 people entered the water, but only 1 resurfaced. The man was later located deceased by the fire department.
Winnipeg has a real presence in the R&B, Afrobeats, and hip-hop music scene. Local musician Jana Jacobs has learned that firsthand and is soon releasing her brand new single on Friday. The single is called Touchin', and it's off her new album coming out later in September. Joining us now is Jana herself. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Okay, tell us all about this single.
So this single is a song I wrote a while ago, and it took a while to get going, but it's become something really exciting and really empowering for me to be singing and sharing with people. It's 90s R&B inspired, so I'm really happy to be bringing that nostalgia back and sharing new music with people.
And why empowering? Dive into that deeper.
Yeah, empowering. So this particular song is about a bad experience that I had with a previous partner, and it took me a while to process what was happening, but this song was such an integral part of that, and creating this song, sharing this song has been such a way to heal and reclaim my body and my power. So yeah, I hope people can I hope it can help them if they're going through something similar.
So even though it's deep in its lyrics, you can still move. You're still going to want to get up and move, and that's the whole point of this.
You're supposed to dance to it. That's the whole point.
I love it. You also did a music video for the first time. What was that experience like?
Oh my gosh, it was amazing. I had so much help. I couldn't have done it alone. I had so many friends helping me out. I had some dancers and some choreography happening, so that was really cool. I got to have my Britney Spears 90s kind of dance moment. So
oh my gosh.
It was an amazing experience. It all happened in one day, and it was go, 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 and I didn't even process what was happening, but it turned out amazingly.
When it comes to this album, you've kind of touched on empowerment, but there's other themes in there as well, maybe grief, addiction, and more. Why do you want to go there?
Yeah, I think I have to go there. I think for me personally, I write music to process everything I'm going through, and this EP is called The Politics of Feeling It's called The Politics of Feeling Alone, and it's about the way that loneliness changes your relationship with other people, with yourself, and I just needed a way to process that and work through those changes. So I think I just needed to go there. That was something I did for myself, and hopefully it helps other people go through what they're going through.
Does performing help you with that too?
In a way, yes. Yeah. I don't necessarily write these songs to perform, but performing is such a release and a cathartic energy that I give and get from people. So even having people relate to my songs and coming up afterwards and saying, hey, I really empathize with what you're going through, that's part of the draw for me. So
is Manitoba one of your favorites? I think you have to say yes because you're doing Fringe coming up.
I do love performing in Manitoba, yes.
So what else is coming up? Because I mentioned Fringe.
Yes.
Anything else that you want to plug, that you want people to go and show out and hear the new songs?
Yes, definitely. Fringe is the main one. I'm performing on Saturday, July 19th at 8 p.m. At the Cube at the Old Market Stage. And after that, it's my EP release. So that'll be happening on September 12th. And more details to come about the release party and how you can maybe attend and get some insider knowledge. So keep a lookout for that.
Keep a lookout for Jana Jacobs, everybody.
All right, dealing with the smoke still. It's 20 degrees, feels like 23, north winds 15 clicks, the pressure rising and the humidity sitting at 67%. The smoke is an issue right across the entire province, and this is the warning map regarding that now, including much of the southeast and right into the southwest. With the red, that is the thunderstorm watches and warnings, pardon me, straight up warnings. Severe thunderstorm warnings is the red that we're seeing off to the east. There's a look at some of the precipitation that we'll be rolling through. Oh, I'm just remembering now. I took a video, it's on my Instagram now, progress pics from Graham Avenue. We talked about how they're doing the painting down there because the buses are now off. It is going to be a pedestrian zone. So on my Instagram is the updated progress pic. It's looking pretty cool. Snakes and ladders game, a giant one. Anyway, hopefully the rain doesn't wash that away because we are likely to see those showers or thunderstorms for later on today. Slightly cooler temperatures only for a day. It's going to be hot again this weekend. Lots of sunshine to come. Well, sunshine, but still probably a little bit hazy through the weekend. Winds won't be shifting till tomorrow afternoon, and that's when we'll start to notice some improvements. Next week, if you don't like the heat, it's going to be a little bit cooler, maybe a little bit soggier. We could have some showers to kick things off on Monday. Taking a break right now. We'll be back with more CTV Morning Live.
Rooftop arrangements provided by Lacoste Garden Center. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
Well, it's Friday and we're heading into another hot weekend, so might as well do it in style like these unofficial Guinness World Record holders. Wow, this baseball team is showing off their 20-pass dunk. They did it after 5 attempts and are now waiting to hear back about their potential record-breaking teamwork. Teamwork does make the dream work.
Oh, okay.
They did it. Look at that.
That was a lot of commitment. Like, we had to be committed in order for the payoff.
Well, it looks like everyone is trying to stay cool. Check this out.
If everybody had a nose across the USA.
This armadillo is beating the heat in his own private splash pad at the Tallahassee Museum. It may look like Chip is just playing, but this pool setup is an enrichment exercise and keeps him mentally and physically engaged. Seems to be working.
Chip the armadillo. I like it.
And then this one is a little golfer is receiving a lot of attention.
Come on, find the hole. Find the hole.
It's a coyote pup. Look at him. He's playing at Burlington Golf and Country Club in Ontario. He's racked up millions of views online. Of course, is calling this
okay, that's a bogey by now.
Yes, indeed. Have a wonderful weekend. We'll see you Monday.